Chapter 1229. It's our sect supervisor. The Hahuan school disciples were pleasantly surprised. The golden figure was the demon king, Du Xiaofu, who had entered the black vortex earlier. Brat, you destroyed my demon gate. I'll make you beg for death. Xue Xie's voice was harsh, and his crimson eyes stared at Du Xiaofu. At that moment, Xue Xie could feel that it was this brat who had destroyed his demon gate. Whoosh, crimson light gathered crazily around him, and a murderous aura that made one's soul tremble rapidly surged. In the next moment, Xue Xie's figure rushed toward Du Xiaofu like a ghost, and a crimson light pillar directly enveloped Du Xiaofu. Humph! Seeing Xue Xie rush toward him, Du Xiaofu snorted coldly. His hand seals changed rapidly, and a terrifying aura spread out from his body. It shook the void as if thunder was roaring, and the aura was surging and shaking the void. Domineering Dao. At the same time, Du Xiaofu raised his head and let out a loud roar that sounded like a dragon's roar. It was like a divine elephant's roar. Roar! The sound waves surged like a tsunami, surging in all directions, causing the surrounding heaven and earth to tremble violently. Roar, 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 roar. At that moment, the entire void was roaring and countless loud roars echoed in the sky. It was like thunder from the 9 heavens, and it reverberated in the mortal world. This shocking roar was enough to shock the heavens and earth, and make ghosts and gods weep. The void was about to collapse, and it made one's heart tremble with fear. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, the surging sound waves rolled, accompanied by a golden rune energy ripple. It was like a surging ocean, and it caused the entire sealed ancient land to tremble rapidly. The sound waves reverberated in the sky, causing living beings to tremble. Their eyes were filled with pain, and their bodies could not help but explode from the inside out. They were terrified from the depths of their souls. This sound wave was not a simple sound wave, but it contained a type of martial arts. Whoosh, 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 a terrifying sound wave swept towards the blood-red light. The two collided, causing the blood-red light to boil. But the blood light was scary. Among the waves, Xue Xie's body appeared in front of Du Xiaofu at a speed faster than lightning. It was as if he was not afraid of the scary sonic attack. A blood-light palm print landed in front of Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. Suddenly, lightning surged in his eyes, sharp and frightening. His hand seals changed, and golden light enveloped the surroundings. A domineering and fierce aura suddenly swept out. He shook his arm, and a fist wrapped in golden light directly blasted out. Way of the tyrannical fist. The golden fist collided with the bloody palm print, and an astonishing amount of energy swept out. Dang dang! Du Xiaofu was forced to take several steps back. What was even more terrifying was that the blood-red, baleful aura was corroding his primordial spirit and body. Fortunately, the most terrifying blood-red, baleful qi did not have much effect on Du Xiaofu. But if it had been someone else, not to mention a peak transcendent martial honorable, even a peak chaotic element honorable would have been killed. Seeing that his attack had not taken care of the human youth, Xue Xie's monstrous cold intent shot out from his eyes. A vast and mighty baleful aura filled the air. In an instant, it was like a blood-red storm spiraling. Then it condensed into a blood-red exotic beast shadow which occupied the air. It looked like a wolf and a tiger, and it pounced towards Du Xiaofu. Roar! A huge, ferocious exotic beast appeared, and its baleful aura filled the sky. It pounced towards Du Xiaofu fiercely, overbearing way of the sword. Du Xiaofu bellowed, and the purple-gold heavenly fault roared out. A purple-gold sword light, which seemed to have been prepared, swept out. The sword had the strength to split a mountain, and there was nothing fancy about it. But as the sword swept through the air, the space where the sword light passed by almost collapsed, revealing a vacuum. In an instant, a domineering energy pressure that caused one to tremble violently spread out from the purple-gold sword light, causing the entire space to tremble violently. A terrifying sword intent also swept through the sky. The domineering sword aura made one's hair stand on end, and it directly landed on the exotic beast Shadow. The ferocious exotic beast swung its claws, tearing the space apart, and its baleful aura covered the sky. When the sword light and the claw collided, there was not much of a sound. Only the terrifying sword light and baleful aura turned into runic energy ripples, which swept through the surrounding space like a tsunami. Crash! Countless sword beams and murderous auras swept across the battlefield. Du Xiaofu's sword beams cleaved apart the strange beast's claw, but they were not damaged at all. There were too many strange beasts, and their huge bodies slammed into Du Xiaofu's body. The golden rock wings on Du Xiaofu's back spread out, and golden light burst out. At the same time, they flapped on the exotic beast Shadow. At the same time, the thunder martial vein was activated and purple electric arcs burst out. Humph! Under that terrifying impact, Du Xiaofu's body was flung back several steps. A muffled groan could be heard from his throat as he forced a mouthful of sweet liquid down his throat, after which he forcefully swallowed it down and flapped his golden rock wings, stabilizing his body. Crash! The huge exotic beast Shadow was also shattered by Du Xiaofu's attack. The terrifying baleful aura was scattered in the air, and it overturned a large area. Many of the weaker cultivators on the ground felt their souls tremble. Half-domain evil spirit, terrifying power. Du Xiaofu stabilized his body and looked at Xue in front of him. His eyes were filled with seriousness. Xue, who was at the half-domain level, had terrifying power. He was much more terrifying than a martial honorable who was at the peak of the Nirvana realm. He was the strongest existence under the martial domain realm. In addition, this evil spirit was strange and difficult to deal with. Under the terrifying, baleful aura, Du Xiaofu frowned slightly. Fortunately, Xue's strongest attribute was the baleful aura. If it was another martial honorable at the peak of the Nirvana realm, he would not have been able to withstand it. Du Xiaofu knew that he had many tricks up his sleeves when it came to resisting the baleful aura. He had gained a lot of advantages. Demon King Du Xiaofu is actually so powerful. Many people on the ground looked up. Although they saw that Du Xiaofu was at a disadvantage, they were all shocked. That was a half-domain level evil spirit, and Du Xiaofu was able to withstand it. Looking at the tall and straight figure of the youth, who was holding a peerless weapon, who was floating in the air, everyone, regardless of which faction they were from, was shocked and their hearts were trembling. Many of the peak youths of the factions present were dragons and phoenixes among men. At this moment they were deeply impressed. It was not that they were weak, but the Demon King Du Xiaofu was too powerful. The overbearing youth stood in the air with the peerless weapon in his hand. His golden wings flapped, and he looked like a ferocious bird in human form. How powerful and overbearing he was. Sect Supervisor is invincible. Bring glory to our Hahuan school. The disciples of the Hahuan school felt a deep sense of belonging, and they were proud of it. At this moment, among the Alliance army, Sect Supervisor was sweeping in all directions. He had destroyed the demon sect and stood in front of Xue. How powerful was he? However, Du Xiaofu's gaze was grave, and he did not dare to be careless. Golden light was released all around, and Du Xiaofu seemed to be in a sea of golden light. An overbearing aura, accompanied by purple lightning, filled the air, killing in all directions and looking disdainfully at the sky. Xue looked at Du Xiaofu. The human had a scary, murderous, thunder and lightning aura. It made him feel an instinctive fear. If the young man was a little stronger, he would have been scared of him. What a strange boy. Today he must die. Xue shouted gloomily. Blood light rippled, causing the heavens and earth to rumble. Blood runes pressed forward, and a bloody light exploded. It carried a monstrous killing intent as it condensed into a long spear. Blood spear breaks the sky. With a loud shout, the blood spear condensed by Xue xie pierced through the air. The blood spear pierced through the air, destroying everything in its path. It left behind a pitch-black crack in the air, and a terrifying bloody light filled the air. In an instant, it arrived in front of Du Xiaofu. The blood spear was covered with dazzling blood runes, and it looked as if it had been condensed from blood. A terrifying aura that could pierce through space swept out, and when people looked at it, their souls and primordial spirits would be shattered. Not good. Xue Xie is using his full strength. The blood spear is condensed from his original killing intent. I'm afraid it can destroy even a peak Nirvana realm martial venerable. Behind the Sa Meng sword sex Mu Jianqin, the old man with a vigorous aura who had fought with Xue Xie trembled. At that moment, the terrifying power that filled the air from the blood spear made him tremble. Du Xiaofu's golden wings exploded with dazzling runes. He squinted his eyes, and he felt an extremely dangerous aura from the blood spear. However, the blood spear was not enough to make Du Xiaofu surrender. Immediately, golden light exploded, and the purple gold heavenly tower in his hand was placed horizontally in front of him. Roar! Faint cries of dragons, tigers, turtles, and birds could be heard. The purple gold heavenly tower exploded with a purple gold light, and it directly blocked the blood spear that was distorting space. It's useless. Boy, you're still too weak. Xue Xie sneered. He held the blood spear in one hand and fiercely slammed it against the purple gold heavenly tower. A terrifying bloody light condensed, and it hit the purple gold heavenly tower like lightning. Go! Du Xiaofu shouted. His thunder martial veins were fully activated, and lightning flashed and thunder roared behind him. Purple lightning covered the purple gold heavenly tower. Boom! A terrifying murderous aura descended. It was magnificent and desolate, and it covered the sky and covered the earth. It swept over the blood spear. Walala! When the two collided, there was no earth-shattering sound of energy. There was only the collision of the murderous aura and the cold, destructive aura. It exploded into pieces of space and dazzling light arcs. Walala! However, the collision did not last long. The terrifying, murderous aura affected the primordial spirit and the physical body. A huge force swept over, and Du Xiaofu finally spat out a mouthful of pale golden blood. His body was instantly pushed back, and he fell heavily on a huge mountain. Crack! The purple gold heavenly tower was inserted into the rocks of the mountain peak. A terrifying force struck the huge mountain, and the rocks around the huge mountain peak were instantly covered in cracks. Then, with a rumbling sound, the entire mountain was turned into fine powder. Du Xiaofu's body was still floating in the air, and he maintained the position where he had just shaken off the mountain. Lightning flashed in his eyes, and the golden wings on his back were flat. He was like a baby pung that was injured and waiting to fight back. Thud! Thud! Xue Xie's body was pushed back a few steps, and the blood spear in his hand was destroyed. The terrifying power of the thunder and lightning was like Xue Xie's natural nemesis. It reduced Xue Xie's power greatly, and his mind was trembling in fear. This kid is strange. He must die. Xue Xie instantly jumped out again. He did not know why, but he was afraid of the young man. He wanted to kill him immediately. Swoosh! Xue Xie's body turned into a bloodlight, and with a series of afterimages, he instantly appeared in front of Du Xiaofu. A blood-light palm print, which looked like it was dripping with blood, slammed toward Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu's lightning-like eyes stared fixedly at the bloody palm, and a frightening ruthlessness surged out of his lightning-like eyes. Even at this moment, Du Xiaofu did not think that he could not fight back. At least, he could still fight to the death. Suddenly, at the same time that Du Xiaofu's eyes surged with a ruthless and terrifying gaze, a voice that was like the sound of nature quietly spread out from the sky. He will not die today. Chapter 1230. Translator. H2DH2 Mr. As the heavenly voice fell, a faint, fiery aura spread through the air. bringing with it a faint fragrance. A beautiful figure slowly appeared. She wore a purple robe, accentuating her alluring curves. The beautiful woman slightly raised her eyes. Her eyes were like purple suns, seemingly able to see through everything in the world. With a slight shake of her wrist, a handprint wrapped in purple flames condensed on her jade-like palm. Blazing purple flames erupted like purple magma, incomparably hot, distorting the space and directly slapping on the former's bloody palm print. Boom! When the two collided, intense energy fluctuations of fiery aura and shattered bloody runes spread out in a ring shape. It was as if a meteor had exploded above, and a sea of flames fell, filling the sky with a murderous aura. Chi-la-la! The murderous aura that covered the sky was destroyed, and Shuexia's figure retreated continuously. His bloody eyes were filled with shock. A terrifying aura engulfed the area. Du Xiaofu inclined his head and stared at the woman who had suddenly appeared in front of him. Her aura was otherworldly, and her violet hair cascaded down her shoulders, all the way to her perky buttocks. Her long and slender legs outlined the curves of a mature woman. "It's her!" Du Xiaofu's gaze suddenly trembled. Just by looking at her back, he knew who she was. Other than the purple flame demonic phoenix, there was no one else. After repelling Shuexia, the woman slowly turned her head. The gaze in her purple eyes was ethereal and dazzling like fireworks. When the countless eyes of the Alliance saw the woman in front of them, their hearts all trembled. This was a woman with a moving appearance, a seductive demeanor, and an aura of a banished immortal. Her charm was enough to make any man lose his soul. This alluring woman was none other than the purple flame demonic phoenix. Could it be that she broke through? Du Xiaofu looked at the purple flame demonic phoenix. Sensing the aura on her body, his heart trembled inwardly. Du Xiaofu sensed that the purple flame fiendish phoenix's aura was already qualitatively different from the last time they met. Du Xiaofu guessed that the purple flame fiendish phoenix had already broken through that half-step barrier and stepped into the true beast region. The purple eyes of the purple flame demonic phoenix looked at Du Xiaofu. Its purple eyes moved slightly and its voice was ethereal. "It seems that every time I see you, you are in trouble. Where is little Xingxing?" "Little star!" Hearing this, Du Xiaofu's eyes immediately darkened. There was still no news of little Xingxing. Seeing Du Xiaofu's reaction, the purple flame demonic phoenix's face immediately darkened. Her voice became cold as she looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "I've been to the Central Province and the Stone City. Finally, I got the news that you might be at the Hahuan School in Shang Province. I only came here after going to the Hahuan School. If anything happens to little Xingxing, I'll teach you a lesson." After the purple flame demonic phoenix's words, people could not help but shiver from the bottom of their hearts. Under that peerless appearance, she was definitely cold and ruthless. Du Xiaofu looked at the purple flame demonic phoenix calmly. The corner of his mouth curled up and he said, "It's a long story. I'll tell you later. I'm also looking for little Xingxing. If anything happens to little Xingxing, I won't let you go." The purple flame demonic phoenix stared at Du Xiaofu. Her temperament was complicated and her purple eyes suddenly became demonic. "You are from the Beast Clan. Why do you have to get involved in the affairs of humans? Isn't it enough that humans are riding on top of you beasts?" Shuexia, who had been pushed back, looked at the purple flame demonic phoenix. Seeing that the purple-robed Beast Clan woman seemed to be estranged from the human brat, his bloody eyes fluctuated and he secretly sneered. "My affairs are not for an evil creature like you to talk about. You're looking for death." The purple flame demonic phoenix's eyes darkened. Her gloomy face suddenly changed. Suddenly, a purple light spread out from her body. The purple flames around her fluctuated and the entire area was filled with rolling purple flames. The rolling purple flames were like a giant sea of purple flames. They surrounded the area and went straight for Shuexia. "Bastard!" Shuexia's face changed. He did not think that one sentence would cause the Beast Clan woman to attack him. The purple flames made him absolutely afraid. Her aura was that of a real beast realm being. Suddenly, a bloody light exploded from Shuexia's body. It covered the sky and the earth and blocked the purple flames around him. Now that the demon gate had been destroyed, he was truly afraid. At the same time, Shuexia looked up into the sky and shouted, "Inlay, are you still not going to come out? If everything goes to waste, you won't be able to escape." Hearing Shuexia's shout, Du Xiaofu was shocked. Then his heart sank. Du Xiaofu was no stranger to the Inlay old man. He did not expect these evil spirits to be related to the Inlay old man. If that was the case, these evil spirits were definitely related to the devil religion. "Shuexia, hold on for a while. I'll deal with that kid first. He's the one we've been looking for." While these thoughts were swirling in Du Xiaofu's mind, a gloomy voice suddenly rang out in the sky. Then an old man in a yellow robe with a gloomy face appeared in the sky. His eyes flickered with lightning and his aura was terrifying. "Inlay old man." Du Xiaofu's eyes suddenly shone with a terrifying golden light. It was his old enemy, the Inlay old man, another half-region expert. The Alliance Army's eyes trembled. The terrifying lightning aura descended. It was another half-region expert. "Kid, so you've escaped to Shang Prefecture. Unfortunately, your luck isn't too good. Today, you've fallen into my hands again." The Inlay old man stared at Du Xiaofu. A faint chill surged out of him as he sneered. "Where's my master now?" Du Xiaofu took a few steps forward and flapped his golden wings. His hair fluttered in the wind as he held the purple-gold heavenly tower in his hand. He exuded a domineering aura that swept through the surroundings. His master, the revered artifact, was captured by the devil religion. The destruction of Tianwu Academy and the massacre of the Seven-Star Hall were all related to the devil religion. Now that he had met his enemy, Du Xiaofu's eyes were filled with coldness. "Don't worry, you'll be able to meet your master soon." The Inlay old man sneered with a gloomy expression. He couldn't let go of this opportunity. He had to capture that kid. When the time came, it would definitely be a great achievement. "If you're not going to tell me, then I'll ask myself." Du Xiaofu's eyes were cold as he stared at the Inlay old man. He stomped his feet on the void and flapped his wings. He swooped down like a great rock and slashed down with the purple-gold heavenly tower. Facing the Inlay old man, Du Xiaofu didn't conceal his killing intent. He acted swiftly and mercilessly. The Inlay old man's expression changed when he saw Du Xiaofu's sword. It had only been a year since the destruction of the Seven-Star Hall. He didn't expect that the kid's strength had increased so much. However, the Inlay old man wasn't afraid. Lightning flashed in his eyes, and he looked cold and arrogant. The runes in his hand glowed brightly. He turned his palm into a claw, and a lightning claw print twisted the void and grabbed at the terrifying sword radiance. Du Xiaofu was filled with killing intent. However, he was clear-headed. The Inlay old man was a half-realm expert, and his strength wasn't below Shuexia's. He couldn't even suppress the Inlay old man like he suppressed Shuexia. Therefore, the Inlay old man was more difficult to deal with than Shuexia. Therefore, Du Xiaofu didn't fight recklessly. When he saw the Inlay old man's claw twisting the void and grabbing at him, his eyes turned cold. He didn't say anything. The purple-gold heavenly fault in his hand changed, and he drew an arc. Suddenly, the sword move changed. The purple-gold sword radiance soared and turned into dozens of overbearing sword radiances. They pierced through the void and rushed toward the Inlay old man. "Kid, it's not enough!" The Inlay old man sneered. He changed his hand gestures and activated several divine senses. Runes filled the sky, and thunder destroyed the dozens of overbearing sword radiances. Sumeru Illusory Realm. Du Xiaofu moved like a ghost and approached the Inlay old man. He activated his brother Zhen Qingquan's unique skill, Sumeru Illusory Realm. with the strength of a late 8-star spiritual talisman master at the Sumeru illusory realm. With Du Xiaofu's terrifying primordial spirit power, he could trap a peak nirvana realm martial venerable in the Sumeru illusory realm. The half-region was not the real martial region, so the Yinlei old man would be affected. It could be said that Du Xiaofu's strength in talisman Taoism was higher than that in martial arts, except for his freakish physical body. This was mainly in the primordial spirit. Du Xiaofu had gained a lot of amazing benefits recently. Sky-shaking wings. When the Sumeru illusory realm was activated, Du Xiaofu swept the golden wings of the rock. Layers of golden light runes burst out and swept toward the Yinlei old man. In the Sumeru illusory realm, the Yinlei old man was affected. However, when the layers of overbearing golden light runes swept toward him, he began to come to his senses. In a panic, a bolt of lightning burst out from his body and enveloped him tightly. Rumble! The golden light runes collided with the lightning bolt. A blazing light burst out in midair and flooded a large area of the void. Thump! Thump! The Yinlei old man was forced back dozens of feet in a panic before he could stabilize his body. His old face became extremely cold at this moment. The Yin Thunder old man's eyes were gloomy and cold. He did not expect to be at a disadvantage in front of Du Xiaofu. "Kid, I don't want to play with you anymore. Let's end this." The Yinlei old man shouted coldly. He formed a seal with his hands. From the surface of his body, bolts of lightning spread out and filled the sky with electric arcs. Chi. In the end, the Yinlei old man activated the lightning in the sky and turned it into a huge lightning claw. It tore through the void and grabbed at Du Xiaofu. In the terrifying electric arcs, the claw descended like a meteor. Chapter 1231. At that moment, Du Xiaofu's hand seals were already flying in the air. Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven. Borrow the power of the Qian Dragon. As he shouted, a golden light burst out from Du Xiaofu's body and shot into the sky. At lightning speed, it condensed into 4 giant dragon shadows. Roar, 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 roar. The 4 giant dragons roared and their roars filled the sky. At that moment, Du Xiaofu was activating the Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven of the universe Dragon Tiger technique. It could increase his strength by a lot in a short period of time. According to the Crazy Region Master, the Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven was necessary for escaping. It was a trump card that could oppress opponents of the same cultivation level. The 4 giant dragons appeared and instantly turned into 4 energy ribbons. They landed on Du Xiaofu's body like lightning. Boom! At that moment, Du Xiaofu's peak transcendent martial honorable aura soared like a rocket. It only stopped when his aura reached the middle chaotic element honorable realm. From the peak transcendent martial honorable realm to the middle chaotic element honorable realm to the martial honorable realm, this increase was absolutely terrifying. Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven. That's the remarkable ability of the universe Dragon Tiger technique. The supervisor is activating our Hahuan School's trump card. Below, the venerable ice dragon's eyes trembled. He had only heard of the Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven, but had never seen it. It was said that if one could activate the power of the 9 dragons, their strength would increase to a terrifying level. However, this method of temporarily increasing one's cultivation base would become less effective as one's strength increased. At the same time, the weaker one's physical body was, the more limited the amount of energy they could withstand. It was said that only those with a stronger physical body would have the chance to activate the power of the 9 dragons. Otherwise, the person activating the power of the 9 dragons would not be able to withstand it. Is this the legendary technique of the Qiankuan Dragon Tiger technique? The Hahuan School, indeed, has a strong foundation. Mu Jianchen, who was in the air below, could not help but tremble when he saw Du Xiaofu's soaring aura. It was not that the Saman Sword sect did not have any methods to temporarily raise one's cultivation level. However, Generally speaking, it was only useful when one's cultivation level was below the martial emperor level. For someone like Du Xiaofu, who had reached the level of a transcendent martial honorable, to be able to temporarily raise his strength by such a large margin, it was enough to show how extraordinary his cultivation technique was. As Du Xiaofu activated the Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven, his strength skyrocketed. At the same time, the Yin Thunder Old Man's claw appeared in front of him. Everything happened as fast as lightning. Du Xiaofu's gaze was powerful as the hand seals continued to condense at lightning speed. The profound qi in his body was like a torrential flood as it followed the hand seals and instantly condensed into a golden hand seal in front of his palm. The light was gorgeous as if it was a dazzling golden color. The golden hand seal was not only a martial technique, but a martial technique. It seemed to contain the mysteries of the heavens and the earth, as well as the mysteries of yin and yang. Countless people could not help but feel frightened, and their souls trembled when they looked at it. Xiaoyang seal. In the blink of an eye, Du Xiaofu bellowed as the golden palm imprint hovered above his palm. A powerful energy, pressure emanated from it. The palm seal domineeringly cut through the sky. In a flash, it violently collided with the Yin Thunder Old Man's claw seal. The lightning claw seal and the golden hand seal instantly collided with a loud bang under the gazes of many people. A shocking sound of energy suddenly resounded in the void. Bang. At the center of the energy storm, the surrounding space seemed to have collapsed into a huge, pitch-black hole. Terrifying rune energy ripples swept out like a stormy sea, turning into an energy storm that only came to a sudden stop in the distance. Then it dissipated under countless astonished gazes, and everything returned to normal. Deng deng! Du Xiaofu's body was shaken back again as a muffled groan came from his throat. Flapping his wings, he stomped on the void, causing a burst of golden light to erupt. Du Xiaofu, who was hundreds of feet away, stabilized his body. The Yin Thunder Old Man's body also staggered at this moment. His eyes trembled and became colder. What a powerful demon king! Seeing that Du Xiaofu had actually resisted a half-domain expert head-on, although he was still at a disadvantage, it was enough to shock everyone present. Kid, you have surprised me again and again, but that's it. It can't change the fact. The Yin Thunder Old Man frowned when he felt that Du Xiaofu's aura had skyrocketed, and that extremely powerful attack just now was enough to fight a Nirvana martial artist head-on without being defeated. In the next instant, the Yin Lightning Old Man shook his yellow robe after his gloomy words sounded. His sleeve was swung, and one could hear the sizzling sound of electric arcs shuttling through the air. Soon after, electric arcs shot towards Du Xiaofu from all directions like poisonous snakes. Du Xiaofu's eyes darkened. The golden light around his body had unknowingly turned into a dazzling, white divine light. In an instant, 34 array flags appeared in his palm. The array flags twisted the void and flew out rapidly. Boom! As the array flags flew out, they instantly formed a mysterious light screen that enveloped a vast area of space. Dazzling runes were dazzling, and the space was frozen and distorted. Rumble! Lightning and thunder could be faintly seen on the array, accompanied by rolling dark clouds. The 34 formation flags were an 8-star primordial chaos talisman formation, which Du Xiaofu quickly set up. With his current strength and the strength of his Yuan spirit, Du Xiaofu felt that it would not be much of a problem for him to set up an 8-star Nirvana symbol array. He had also comprehended an 8-star Nirvana symbol array on the top floor of the Hahuan School's universe building. However, Du Xiaofu did not have enough time to set up an 8-star Nirvana symbol array in a hurry. The 8-star origin symbol array was instantly set up and bound the Yin Thunder Old Man within it. Du Xiaofu's face instantly turned pale, but he did not enter the array. The white divine light was withdrawn and golden light flickered. Many hand seals flew rapidly. Qila! As Du Xiaofu's hand seals were formed, Waves of unusual wild and violent energy, ripples, suddenly rippled in the surrounding space. Threads of seemingly solid golden energy and silver-white energy suddenly seeped out from the empty space, causing the space to distort slightly at this moment. In the next instant, one of Du Xiaofu's palms was resplendent with golden light, while the other was dazzling with silver light. They were like yin and yang, one hard and one soft. The golden palm seal was as resplendent as gold. The silver-white energy palm seal was suffused with strange silver-white runes. From afar, it looked like layers of silver-white lightning lingered around it. Boom! As the two palm seals floated in his hands, an extremely frightening energy overflowed from each of them, causing the surrounding space to tremble. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was activating the Xiaoyang seal and the Extreme Yin seal at the same time. The mysterious 4 images seal could be trained individually, or the seals could be stacked, increasing its power by several times. At this moment, Du Xiaofu wanted to take a risk and give it a try. In terms of power, the Xiaoyang seal alone was not much weaker than the tyrannical fist path. If he merged the Extreme Yin seal at this moment, it might be able to increase its power significantly, even surpassing the tyrannical fist path. The Tao of heaven and earth uses yin and yang to create all things. Heaven and earth, sun and moon, lightning, wind and rain, male and female, hard and soft, movement and stillness. All things are divided into yin and yang, Du Xiaofu muttered softly. His mouth muttered some words as he controlled the 2 hand seals to slowly merge. Chapter 1232. Rumble. In front of him, the Yin Thunder Old Man was trying his best to break the formation. Shuexia was attacked by the purple flame demonic phoenix. He was trapped in the sea of purple flames. His situation was terrible. The bloodlight sea around him was being burned and evaporated. It became smaller and smaller. That Demon King seems to be fusing with some trump card. All eyes on the ground fell on Du Xiaofu. 2 terrifying handprints were getting closer and closer to each other, bursting with a terrifying aura. Boom! At the instant when the 2 hand imprints merged, a great and terrifying force rebounded out. It was as if 2 magnets of the same pole had collided. The rebound caused the space to tremble incessantly. Pucci! Du Xiaofu immediately spat out a mouthful of blood under the impact of such a terrifying rebound force. His face instantly turned pale, and the golden and silver palms almost collapsed. Kaka! Inside the talisman array, the Yin Thunder Old Man was using all his strength to forcefully break it. Muffled rumbling noises kept ringing out, causing the talisman array to shake and begin to crack. Why can't I succeed? There's no time. I must succeed. Du Xiaofu sensed everything in the array glyphs. With a solemn look, he continued to clench his teeth and fuse the 2 rebounded palm prints. There were a total of 4 seals in the mysterious yellow 4-elephant seal. The 4 seals were connected and could form the mysterious yellow emperor's seal. Its power was enough to suppress all living things and move mountains and seas. However, the 4 seals could also be stacked on top of each other. It was just that it was not easy to cultivate a single seal, let alone fusing 2 seals together. The mysterious 4-elephant seal was not an ordinary martial skill, but a martial art. The seal contained the profound meaning of heaven and earth, as well as the mysteries of yin and yang. At this moment, Du Xiaofu wanted to fuse the 2 seals, which was more difficult than he had expected. After the first failure, Du Xiaofu had no other choice. The 8-star primordial Chaos Talisman Array could not stop the Yin Thunder Old Man for too long. Moreover, Du Xiaofu's goal was not to stop the Yin Thunder Elder, but to get information about his master, the Venerable Weapon Master. Chi! Du Xiaofu continued to fuse the 2 seals as the profound qi in his body fluctuated and communicated with the energy of heaven and earth. At this moment, his hands seemed to contain yin and yang, tai chi, the birth of the 4 symbols, and the stability of the 8 directions. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's fusion of the two seals was complex and profound, encompassing and condensing everything, forming a unique and tyrannical martial art. His Xian Qi surged in his body, connecting with earth and heaven energy. Various powers, Upanishads, were connected. Du Xiaofu let go of everything. The two handprints merged for the second time and gradually overlapped with each other. Finally, they formed a faint golden and silver palm print. Rumble! The talisman array exploded loudly, and the entire sky trembled. More and more cracks appeared on the array. Finally, the 8-star primordial chaos talisman array shattered under the Yin Thunder Old Man's full power. Rumble! The talisman array was forcibly shattered, causing the earth to quake and the mountains to shake. A terrifying aura swept out, and the ground below also crumbled and cracked, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Pucci! The moment the talisman array shattered, Du Xiaofu spat out another mouthful of blood. Brat Dai! It was also at this moment that the Yin Thunder Old Man's face turned extremely gloomy and pale. His figure flashed out like a ghost and pounced towards Du Xiaofu, who was condensing the fusion handprints. A powerful lightning energy swept out, distorting the surrounding space into nothingness. Everyone, buy some time for the Demon King Du Xiaofu. Otherwise, all of us will be in a desperate situation today. The strongest old man from the Saman sword sect shouted loudly. A powerful aura burst out and soared into the sky. Buy some time for the Demon King Du Xiaofu. The top experts from the various major powers immediately leaped out. Waves of energy swept out as they activated all sorts of divine abilities with all their might. Rumble! Numerous attacks that contained powerful energy were accompanied by waves of low and deep energy explosions. Immediately, they blasted towards the Yin lightning old man in succession. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. You're overestimating yourself. The face of the Yin lightning old man, whose face was pale, turned completely dark and cold when he saw everyone attacking him. His yellow robe shook, and the large amount of lightning energy that was originally attacking Du Xiaofu immediately swept towards the people below with lightning-like speed. Bang! 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 Waves of energy collided, and the attacks of the experts from the various major powers collapsed upon contact. Under the Yin Thunder Old Man's terrifying lightning energy, figures spat out blood and fell down, smashing into the ground and the mountain peak, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to collapse. Pucci, the honored ice dragon, also rushed out with everyone, but in the end he fell down the mountain peak in an extremely miserable manner. Bastard! The people from the various major powers gritted their teeth when they saw that the elders of their sects were not a match for the old man. Their eyes were cold. Fight it out with him, and buy some time for the Demon King. Some people with fiery tempers and extraordinary strength immediately rushed forward with angry faces, wanting to join forces to deal with the Yin Thunder Old Man. You're just ants. Go to hell. The Yin Thunder Old Man sneered disdainfully. He waved his hand, and an earth-shattering lightning swept out. The terrifying lightning energy swept across the sky and easily knocked down the figures. Many of them turned into blood mist in midair. A bunch of ants. Who dares to come forward to die? The Yin Thunder Old Man stood proudly in the void. Electric arcs fluctuated around him, and the terrifying aura of a half-domain was undoubtedly revealed. Bastard! Hearing the Yin Thunder Old Man's disdainful and humiliating words, the Alliance army was furious. Their faces turned red, but they did not dare to go forward. No one was truly unafraid of death. However, the Yin Lightning Old Man's expression suddenly changed after his words sounded. An energy ripple that caused his heart to palpitate suddenly appeared in front of him. The energy fluctuation was too terrifying. A trace of shock flashed across the Yin Thunder Old Man's eyes, and he immediately raised his head to look. Hence, the Yin Thunder Old Man saw Du Xiaofu's hands a short distance in front of him. A golden palm and a silver-white palm had quietly merged together at an unknown time. As the two palms merged, a frightening power soared in an instant, and a terrifying energy fluctuation spread out from it. The terrifying power caused the Thunder old man's expression to change drastically. How can it be so powerful? The Thunder old man's heart trembled. He had just experienced one of the palm seals, but he did not expect its power to soar to such a terrifying level. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was expressionless as he looked at the Thunder old man, whose expression had changed drastically. The corners of his mouth were curled in a sinister manner. His face was pale, and he appeared ferocious and icy cold. After finally merging the Shaoyang seal and the Extreme Yin seal, the combined power of the two seals had increased by more than 10 times. This caused Du Xiaofu to be shocked. However, the two merged seals had also devoured all the energy within Du Xiaofu's body. Thunder old man, it's my turn now! Du Xiaofu cried out loudly. His foot stomped on the air, and the merged palm seal in his hand immediately slammed towards the Thunder old man. The palm was suffused with dazzling gold and silver radiance, and it was crystalline, translucent, and extremely beautiful like a piece of jade. It tore through space and expanded along with the wind, and it instantly transformed into an enormous palm that was 300 m in size. It carried a terrifying force of destruction as it effused out from within it, and it covered the heavens and the earth as it smashed down. The Thunder old man's expression changed drastically when he saw the palm seal pressing down and sealing the surrounding space. There was no way to dodge it. The destructive force that spread from it was overbearing and arrogant. It caused the Thunder old man to feel a chill in his heart. Hell, lightning devouring palm. The Thunder old man's expression changed drastically. However, he was also an absolute expert. He did not lose the ability to react. On the contrary, he began to react instantly. A lightning palm seal immediately erupted. Ayo! A lightning palm seal erupted from the Thunder old man's palm. A lightning beast shadow soared into the sky. It looked like a dragon and a lion. Lightning danced in the sky as it roared. It was accompanied by lightning that covered the sky as it collided with the palm seal. Hell, lightning devouring palm. This was the Thunder old man's famous move. Its power was extremely terrifying. Many famous experts had died under the Hell, lightning devouring palm. Everything happened in an instant. The two of them collided in an instant, causing the space around them to freeze. Even the purple flame demonic phoenix, who was suppressing Shuexia in the distance, couldn't catch its breath and looked over from afar. Then, in front of everyone's shocked gazes, the two of them collided. Two waves of energy instantly erupted, and a thunderous explosion resounded across the sky. Boom! The explosion reverberated, and the entire sealed ancient land trembled due to the energy explosion. The mountains and the land within 1,000 feet of the ground collapsed and cracked. Bang, bang, bang! The space below exploded one after another. Everything was destroyed. The vast land turned into a desert. The rocks turned into dust and gravel shot out. Such a terrifying collision. The power of the collision was so strong. It's too terrifying. I'm afraid that an ordinary Nirvana Marshal Honorable would not even have a corpse left if he was swept into it. Demon King Du Xiaofu's martial skill is so overbearing. The top experts from various factions climbed up from the ground and looked at the terrifying destructive attack in the sky. Their throats were boiling as they swallowed their saliva. Chapter 1233. As the terrifying energy spread out, two voices were sent flying. Pucci! Du Xiaofu spat out a mouthful of golden blood, and his face was extremely pale. Deng deng! The lightning old man was also sent flying. He took a dozen steps back and only managed to stabilize his body after crossing 100 feet. Then he spat out a mouthful of blood. Everyone's eyes froze in shock. No one could believe that the half-domain level Thunder old man was actually injured by Du Xiaofu in a head-on clash. Although the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, was at a disadvantage, it was an honorable defeat. Abnormal. That guy is too abnormal. How many trump cards does he have? Mu Jianqin was shocked. He sucked in a breath of cold air as he looked at the tall figure that had stabilized himself. With the cultivation of a peak, transcendent, martial honorable, he had injured a half-domain expert. How abnormal and terrifying was that? This Demon King is too terrifying. The experts of the various powers were astounded. At this moment, that tall figure deeply shocked the hearts of everyone, and it was imprinted in the depths of their minds and refused to disperse. It's still not enough. A half-domain is too strong. Du Xiaofu stabilized his body and looked at the enlightening old man in front of him. He wiped the golden blood at the corner of his mouth with his long sleeve. His aura was weak and his face was pale. After fusing the two seals, his power had increased greatly. However, he did not manage to injure the enlightening old man. This made Du Xiaofu even more solemn. A half-domain cultivation was stronger than Du Xiaofu had imagined. This kid is getting more and more abnormal. A transcendent martial honorable can actually use such strength. The enlightening old man's face was pale. He wiped the blood at the corner of his mouth, and his heart was filled with shock. Finally, his eyes were filled with ruthlessness again. For the Thunder old man, Du Xiaofu was too strange. He had not been able to deal with Du Xiaofu many times and had let Du Xiaofu escape several times. Every time he met Du Xiaofu again, Du Xiaofu's strength would soar. This time, he must not miss this opportunity. Otherwise, the next time he met Du Xiaofu, he would not be able to deal with Du Xiaofu. Thunder old man, help me, help me. In the distance, the purple flame was burning the space. Under that scorching aura, the bloodlight sea on Xuexie's body shrank to less than 10 meters wide. He was frightened. He screamed at the Thunder old man for help. Hold on a little longer. That Du Xiaofu brat is strange. I'll deal with him first. The Thunder elder glanced at Xuexie, but he didn't pay much attention to him. As soon as he finished speaking, he pounced on Du Xiaofu. Mysterious runes burst out from his body. A ferocious lightning beast that looked like a dragon and a lion rushed out, roaring like a dragon. Roar! This lightning beast was exactly the same as the one in the Nether Thunder skeleton that the Thunder old man had used before. It was ferocious, and its body was covered with dragon scales. It was the Thunder old man's pulse soul, the ancient lightning skeleton. Rumor had it that it was the bloodline of Bayan. Bayan was the direct descendant of the dragons. Their bloodline was absolutely powerful. In order to capture Du Xiaofu directly without any accidents, the Thunder old man had activated his pulse soul. The Thunder old man wanted to capture Du Xiaofu completely. He couldn't afford to make any more mistakes. Otherwise, after the Beast Realm woman from the Beast clan took care of Xuexie, he wouldn't have another chance. Roar! The primordial lightning Swanee was like a living creature. Wherever it roared, the space in front of it would explode with a crash, revealing a huge spatial crack, revealing a pitch-black light. The space was torn apart by the ancient lightning skeleton. With a terrifying power, it swept toward Du Xiaofu like lightning. Seeing that the Thunder old man had activated his pulse soul, Du Xiaofu's eyes turned solemn. However, he wouldn't just let himself be captured. He formed a hand seal and covered it with golden light. He was going to fight with all his might. Do you really think that a half-realm evil creature can stop me? Even if he dies, it won't be in your hands. Go away. A voice that was clear and chilly, like the sound of nature, resounded in the blink of an eye, and then a strand of enormous violet flames pierced through space and instantly soared over from afar. Coo! The surging flames illuminated the sky in a dazzling and gorgeous manner. The purple runes were accompanied by dense steam, and the blazing heat soared into the sky. The purple light was resplendent as it transformed into an enormous purple flame demonic phoenix that was several hundred meters in size. It directly pounced on the ancient lightning Swanee. Sizzle, the collision only lasted for an instant. The ancient lightning skeleton that the Een Thunder Old Man had activated was destroyed. It was torn into pieces by the purple flame demonic phoenix shadow. In the end, it dissipated in the rolling purple flames. Uffed! The Een Thunder Old Man spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with shock. There was no doubt that he had underestimated his opponent. Purple flame, demonic phoenix. The Een Thunder Old Man's eyes trembled. His face was extremely gloomy. He had underestimated the strength of a true beast domain expert and a terrifying purple flame, demonic phoenix. The purple flame, demonic phoenix's interference made Du Xiaofu, who was about to fight with all his might, immediately look at the purple flame, demonic phoenix. A true beast domain expert was truly terrifying. In front of Du Xiaofu, in the space battlefield, in the rolling purple sea of fire, the sea of blood-red light around Shuexia was completely burned. The bloody runes that Shuexia had activated were burned into ashes. The bloody chi was completely useless against the purple flame demonic phoenix's purple flames. It was even fearful of the purple flame demonic phoenix. The blazing purple flames were also the nemesis of evil beings. Bang! As the sea of bloody light was incinerated, the purple flame demonic phoenix's shadow flew out. Her slender hand shook and her palm began to glow. It was translucent and purple like a beautiful purple jade. With a boom, the space trembled and her palm landed on Shuexia's body. The purple flames on her palm surged, and the blazing flames soared into the sky. Shuexia's body staggered, and the bloody light on his body was scattered. His eyes were filled with shock. Die! The purple flame, demonic phoenix, shook her slender hand. Her slender fingers bent slightly, and a claw of purple flames twisted the void. It was like an invisible purple flame cage. It was a terrifying scene. It turned into a real purple flame, demonic phoenix claw, and suddenly grabbed at Shuexia. Oh no! Shuexia was restrained in every way. In front of the purple flame demonic phoenix, he did not have much power to fight back. At that moment, the terrifying bloody light in his eyes trembled, and he was filled with shock. It is the purple flame demonic phoenix clan. Does this clan still have a bloodline? Suddenly, at that moment, in the sky, the wind blew and the clouds surged. Dark clouds rolled. In an instant, the demonic chi filled the sky. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. Suddenly, the black lightning in the sky sent chills down people's spines. Their primordial spirits trembled. A huge demonic chi turned into a black light and fell from the sky. It was like a curtain of black light, and demonic chi was falling from the sky. It was a terrifying scene. The black light fell directly on the purple flame, demonic phoenix's claw, and quietly destroyed it. Boom! A terrifying demonic chi poured out and exploded into a blinding black light. It spread out like thunder and instantly hit the purple flame, demonic phoenix's body. Puff! The purple flame, demonic phoenix's body was pushed back. On her beautiful face, she spat out a mouthful of blood. She frowned, and her beautiful eyes suddenly became dignified. The sudden appearance of the black light and demonic chi made Shuexia's eyes light up with joy. He was pleasantly surprised. Trash! Even the demonic gate can have problems. In the sky, in the rolling demonic chi, a cold and emotionless voice spread out. The black light then turned into a black demonic claw. In front of Shuexia's surprised eyes, the claw pierced through Shuexia's body and destroyed him. No, Shuexia's surprised eyes froze. In an instant they were filled with fear. A bright bloodlight talisman flew out from his broken body. What's the use of keeping you alive? The emotionless voice fell again. The demonic chi was strange, like lightning. It wrapped around the bright bloodlight talisman and flew back into the rolling demonic chi in the sky. You lied to me. You lied to me. Ah! Shuexia's pitiful cry was heard. It was filled with unwillingness and hatred. Finally, it disappeared. Bang! 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 At that moment, in the sealed ancient land, when the demonic chi poured out from the sky, a terrifying pressure spread out. In the Alliance army below, many people knelt on the ground as their legs gave way. Under the terrifying pressure, the experts around couldn't fight back. Their bodies went soft, and their primordial spirits trembled uneasily. Greetings to the demonic king. Congratulations on waking up. When the Thunder old man saw the scene before him, he was pleasantly surprised. He knelt down in the void and bowed to the sky. The voice in the sky didn't seem to care about the Thunder old man. The rolling demonic chi and the black light kept trembling. At that moment, Du Xiaofu felt that in the rolling demonic chi in the sky, there seemed to be a pair of invisible eyes looking down at him. When Du Xiaofu's invisible eyes looked at him, it seemed to be able to make him feel uneasy, and his primordial spirit felt cold. It's you. You can actually destroy my demonic sect. It seems that your aura is related to the supreme expert back then. How strange! The indifferent and emotionless voice sounded again. At the same time, a huge handprint was formed in the rolling demonic chi in the sky. It fell from the sky and directly descended on Du Xiaofu. When the huge demonic chi handprint descended, a vast pressure fell. It seemed to have frozen the entire sealed ancient land. When the terrifying demonic chi handprint descended, everyone in the sealed ancient land felt as if there was a huge rock on their chests. It made their hearts feel like they were going to explode and their primordial spirits were going to collapse. Golden light surged in Du Xiaofu's eyes. Under the terrifying pressure, he felt as if he had been frozen. He couldn't even fight back. The feeling of powerlessness shocked Du Xiaofu. This was also the first time that Du Xiaofu had felt such terrifying strength. Under such strength, he was actually unable to have the heart to resist. What kind of terrifying strength was this? Buzz! Suddenly, Du Xiaofu felt the purple lightning profound cauldron in his God's Gate automatically buzzing. Purple gold profound lightning was released. In an instant, mountains surged out of his body and resisted the terrifying pressure. Ninth demon, it's not your place to be arrogant. Suddenly, a voice rang out from high up in the sky. Chapter 1234. The voice seemed to come from a young man, but it was laced with age. It was also at this critical juncture that a faint golden waterfall that was filled with a sharp and murderous aura suddenly shot out from the void and collided with the devilish handprint, causing a burst of dazzling light to erupt. The collision of these energies seemed to have caused time to stop. That short instant felt like an eternity to the people in the sealed ancient land. It was as if the entire space had frozen during that collision. Crackle! Only then did a sound ring out from the collision, but it wasn't too loud. When the two collided, the surrounding space suddenly collapsed, revealing a pitch-black hue. Shattered talismans shone brilliantly, forming a divine ring that drowned out the area. Then the shattered talismans were obliterated in the void and quickly dimmed. Western demon, you're actually still alive. In the sky filled with surging demonic energy, the indifferent and emotionless voice finally rippled. It wasn't loud, but it echoed like thunder. This world needs someone who can restrain you. If you don't die, I won't die either. The ancient voice continued to ring out. It seemed to come from far away, piercing through space. It grew closer and closer. Kiki, Western demon, do you think you can restrain us? Everything will be different. Just you wait. It won't be long before you won't be able to protect everything. The indifferent voice laughed coldly. Demonic energy surged, and a terrifying wave of demonic energy rushed out, enveloping the Thunder Elder. Then he gradually retreated from the sky. Sigh. In the sky, an ancient sigh rang out. Then everything calmed down. Du Xiaofu watched as the Thunder Elder was taken away. Beneath his purple robes, his fists clenched tightly. His eyes were bloodshot. If he couldn't capture the Thunder Elder and ask about his master. He didn't know when he'd be able to find out about his master's whereabouts. In the sealed ancient land, everyone's eyes trembled as they watched everything that had just happened. Some found it hard to snap out of their daze. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. At that moment, the space behind the sealed ancient land rippled. 8 spatial waves rippled from the sky. Then, 8 figures descended on the sealed ancient land. As this figure descended, space froze. 8 boundless auras descended. Du Xiaofu raised his head. The 8 figures were exactly the same as the clones that the major forces had used before. However, at this moment, the 8 figures were real. 8 absolutely terrifying auras surged. They were the true bodies of the 8 clones. Greetings, Grand Elder. As the 8 figures descended, the disciples of the Saman Sword sect, Everclear Island, Juhua Mountain, and the Sun Moon sect all bowed with lingering fear in their hearts. Some experts also heaved a sigh of relief once again. The sealed ancient land was filled with baleful blood qi, and corpses were everywhere. In this war, the number of people who died in the Alliance army numbered in the hundreds of millions. They were all like ants. How cruel was the cultivation world! The disciples of the various major powers were cleaning up the mess. Some of them had lingering fears, some were grieving, and some were secretly relieved. At dusk, the setting sun enveloped the sealed ancient land, giving it a desolate and bleak atmosphere. On the mountain peak, Mu Jianchen looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "Last time you asked me to keep an eye out for news. For now, the Saman Sword sect hasn't found any news about your master, the artifact sovereign Xiahou Fenglei. We also haven't found any traces of the devil religion. However, not long ago, we received news from the Beast region. The little girl you're looking for might have appeared in the Beast region." The Beast region, Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. The Beast region was a vast world of Yao beasts. It was much larger than any province in Kyushu. I don't know the specifics. I only heard that a little girl appeared in the Beast region recently. Her true form is that of a dragon. She caused quite a stir in the Beast region. It's said that she even alarmed the entire Beast region, said Mu Jianchen. He looked at Du Xiaofu and was inwardly moved. This guy was already very ferocious. He could cause a huge disturbance wherever he went. When he came to Shang province, the Hahuan school was turned upside down. There was no need to talk about the battle today. The people around him were all calm and well-behaved. It should be little Xingxing. Hearing Mu Jianchen's words, Du Xiaofu was almost 80% certain that it was little Xingxing. Given little Xingxing's personality, if he went to the Beast region, he would indeed be able to turn the Beast region upside down. What are you planning to do next? Don't tell me you're going to the Beast region? Mu Jianchen looked at Du Xiaofu and frowned. Du Xiaofu nodded. I have to make a trip to the Beast region. The Beast region is the territory of the dragons. You've offended quite a few beasts on the Tianhuan continent. You have to think this through. Even the experts of the Saman Sword sect don't dare to recklessly enter that place. Mu Jianchen helplessly reminded Du Xiaofu. He knew that no matter what he said, he wouldn't be able to stop this ferocious guy from going to the Beast region. However, Mu Jianchen was well aware of how terrifying the Beast region was. He didn't have a good impression of humans to begin with. Many human experts wanted to go to the Beast region to temper themselves and search for opportunities. In the end, one by one, they became the battle servants of the Yao Kings. Mu Jianchen also knew that this guy in front of him definitely didn't have a good reputation in the Beast region. He had already offended quite a few beasts, including the terrifying dragons. Mu Jianchen didn't even need to think too much to know that once the Demon King went to the Beast region, he would definitely be besieged by the entire Beast region. The consequences were obvious. I have to make a trip. Du Xiaofu smiled. If the information he received was correct, then Little Star was most likely in the Beast region. He had to go. Mu Jianchen sighed softly at Du Xiaofu's words. Just as he had expected, Du Xiaofu had no choice but to go. He helplessly said, "The beast region isn't far from here. Our Saman Sword sect spies are there. I will notify them. I'm afraid I won't be able to help you much. However, if you need any information, I should be able to help you." "Many thanks." Du Xiaofu smiled. "No need to be so polite." Mu Jianqin looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "If you need anything in the future, just let me know. Shang Zhou owes you a favor." Du Xiaofu looked at Mu Jianqin. Then he looked in the direction of the rising moon. He clasped his hands behind his back and his hair fluttered behind him. After a long time, he softly said, "All right, I'll remember." At night, the moon was dark and the stars were faint. A baleful aura lingered in the sky. In the distance, there was a thick stench of blood. On the peak of the mountain, a graceful and beautiful figure stood silently. Her violet hair hung down along her beautiful shoulders, all the way to her perky and delicate buttocks, and her slender and straight legs drew out a graceful and mature arc. Little Star might be in the beast region. Du Xiaofu landed on the mountain peak. Looking at the graceful figure's back, his heart trembled. This woman's back alone was enough to cause a calamity. It was just that she was cold and elegant and difficult to deal with. She could change her expression at a moment's notice. "Go to the beast region immediately. If something happens to my daughter, you're dead." The voice was clear and carried a hint of coldness. The purple flame, demonic phoenix, turned her head. The purple eyes on her beautiful face glowed with a devilish purple light in the night. "Little Star is also my daughter." Du Xiaofu pursed his lips. Only after he said that did he feel something was wrong. Those devilish purple eyes were staring at him as if they wanted to eat him up. A moment later, the purple flame demonic phoenix's devilish purple eyes regained their calmness. Her eyes glowed with a faint radiance, like fireworks. She said, "You'd better pray for your own good. Hope that Little Star is safe and sound." Du Xiaofu frowned slightly. He looked at the woman before him. She had a moving face, a seductive figure, a noble temperament, and a charming charm. Although she had a peerless beauty, she could change her expression at a moment's notice. Behind her back, she was cold and ruthless. It was best for him to keep his distance from her. "I'll return the dragon bone to you. It's useless to me now. You still owe me the golden-winged, great rock bone." Seeing that Du Xiaofu didn't say anything, the purple flame demonic phoenix extended her slender hand. A dragon bone emitting a dragon's roar floated in front of Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu accepted the dragon bone and immediately put it in his Qingquan bag. Then he looked at the purple flame demonic phoenix and said, "How are your injuries? Thank you for helping me this time." Chapter 1235. I acted because of little Xingxing and the golden-winged great ping bone you owe me. It has nothing to do with you, so there's no need to thank me, the purple demon phoenix said indifferently. My injuries aren't too serious. There's still some distance between here and the beast region. If you don't have any problems, we can set off tomorrow morning. Du Xiaofu nodded. He wanted to reach the beast region as soon as possible. He really was worried about little Xingxing. If little Xingxing really was in the beast region, then given his bloodline and strength, ordinary Yao beasts wouldn't be able to do anything to him. However, there are some terrifying existences in the beast region. Even the peak experts of the Saman Sword sect didn't dare to rashly intrude. Du Xiaofu couldn't help but worry. A moment later, the moonlight shone like a waterfall. Du Xiaofu stood quietly on the mountain peak, his hands behind his back. His purple robes fluttered slightly as he gazed at the bright moon in the sky. His gaze seemed somewhat sluggish. The Demon Emperor, the Western Yao, and the Devil Religion. It seems to be getting more and more lively. After a long while, Du Xiaofu lowered his head. The Demon Emperor and the Western Yao that had appeared today hadn't even shown themselves. Yet their strength had already reached such a level. The shadows of the Devil Religion seemed to be everywhere in the world. His master had fallen into the hands of the Devil Religion, and his family's reunion was nowhere in sight. He also didn't know how his drunkard father was faring after receiving his inheritance on Tianhuang continent. All of this caused Du Xiaofu's thoughts to fluctuate. Phew! After a long while, Du Xiaofu took a deep breath. For now, he had to go to the beast region and find little Xingxing. At the same time, he had to work hard to raise his cultivation. The devil religion's strength was unimaginable. Legalism was also a colossus. All of this required him to have absolute strength. On the mountain peak, Du Xiaofu gazed at the purple demon phoenix, sitting cross-legged nearby. Her beautiful figure was enveloped in a faint purple light, as if she were burning with purple flames. Her eyes were slightly closed, but she was still beautiful and moving, like the most beautiful fairy of the night. So the purple flame demonic phoenix is such a troublemaker. It turns out that the purple flame demonic phoenix doesn't recognize anyone. Muttering in his heart, Du Xiaofu gazed at the beautiful figure with her eyes slightly closed. He was very clear in his heart that under this woman's beautiful appearance there was a cold and ruthless heart. It was best not to provoke her. However, in the depths of his heart, Du Xiaofu was secretly comparing the temperament of the woman in front of him. She was comparable to Su Muxin's temperament and was most similar to Su Muxin's. However, Su Muxin bewitched all living beings, dignified and noble. This woman, on the other hand, was enchanting and cold to the point of transcendence. She was ethereal and gorgeous, as if she didn't eat the food of the mortal world. In Du Xiaofu's mind, Dongli Qingqing and Qi Yeshi's temperament and appearance were comparable to Su Muxin and the purple demon phoenix. However, Dongli Qingqing and Qi Yeshi were less enchanting and charming than Su Muxin and the purple demon phoenix. However, they were more pure and seductive. They were also untainted by the food of the mortal world, but they were like real immortals that had descended to the mortal world. There were also manly women like Ouyang Shuang, Morong Yurua, and Sima Muhan. They all had different temperaments, and each had their own merits. What am I thinking about? Du Xiaofu scolded himself in his heart. Then a bitter smile appeared on his face. He formed a hand seal and entered into a state of meditation. A moment later, his body was shrouded in a faint golden light. The next morning, the sky was slightly bright. The hazy morning light shone on the sealed ancient land, driving away the thick, bloody aura that had accumulated over the night. Whoosh, whoosh! 2 figures leapt out from the mountain peak. Wrapped in rainbow light, they cut through the peaceful morning sky and disappeared into the distance. That demon king has gone to the beast region. I'm afraid the beast region will no longer be peaceful. Not far away, on a mountain peak, Mu Jianqin opened his eyes. They flickered with light. The 3 continents of Kyushu were the ancient wasteland continent, the Tianhuang continent, and the Chunhuang continent. The Kyushu were the Shang continent, Han continent, Ning continent, Lan continent, Zhong continent, Wan continent, Yu continent, Yun continent, and Lei continent. Each continent referred to a region and a realm. The first region was the beast region. It was said that it was a vast world of demon beasts. It was much larger than any of the continents in Kyushu. The second realm was the demon realm. It was said that it was where the demon spirits of this world resided. How vast was the world! The 3 continents of Kyushu were boundless and boundless. In addition, there were the 4 seas where the dragons resided and Wudong Mountain where the phoenixes resided. The vastness of the world was far greater than many people had imagined. However, most people had no idea how big the world was. They could only view the sky from the bottom of a well. How strong you were was determined by how much information you knew. The beast region was close to Shang continent. It was isolated from Kyushu, but it wasn't far from several continents. Shang continent was one of them. To humans, the beast region was tantamount to a forbidden land. Without a doubt, the beast region was the best place for many people to temper themselves. However, it was unknown how many human experts, including many elites and human kings, ended up becoming the mounts of the demonic beast kings. It was said that the battle servants of the top demon beast clans even had human emperors among them. This was similar to how, in Kyushu, many disciples of major powers had demon beasts ranked on the heavenly beast list as their mounts. No one paid attention to this. In this world, strength spoke louder than words. As Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demon phoenix hurried to the beast region, news of the astonishing battle in Shang continent quickly spread to every continent. The most attention-grabbing event was undoubtedly the Demon King Du Xiaofu's battle with the evil demons. After the battle was vividly described and exaggerated, countless powers were shaken. In Shang continent, the Demon King Du Xiaofu's reputation soared. He was praised by everyone. It was rumored that the Demon King Du Xiaofu, with his fearless courage, had single-handedly destroyed the Demon Gate and saved countless people. He had even single-handedly challenged half of the devil religion's experts. This caused Du Xiaofu to receive the acknowledgement of all the sects in Shang continent. In an instant, Du Xiaofu's reputation in Shang continent surpassed that of the Alliance Master, Mu Jianqin. After all, this time, Du Xiaofu had indeed destroyed the Demon Gate and saved the entire Alliance army. With the truth before their eyes, the experts of the various powers had no choice but to admit that the entire Shang continent owed the Demon King a favor. As for the Hahuan school, its reputation in Shang continent had naturally risen as well. Originally, the entire Shang continent had to maintain a certain distance from the Hahuan school. After all, the Hahuan school's reputation wasn't very good. However, the Hahuan school's reputation had recently improved. This caused all the Hahuan school's disciples to be pleasantly surprised. Although Du Xiaofu had only appeared in the Hahuan school halfway, he had suddenly become the Hahuan school's supervisor. However, with Du Xiaofu's original reputation and the shocking feats of the Hahuan school, he had brought the Hahuan school's reputation to a whole new level in Shang continent. This caused Du Xiaofu to receive the acknowledgement and respect of all the disciples. As the news of Shang continent spread to the other continents, with the speed of Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demonic phoenix, a boundless mountain range appeared in the distant sky 10 days later. The mountain range was boundless, vast, and deep. At this moment, it was dusk. The setting sun was like a huge fireball as it fell behind the mountain range. The sunset had also lost its last trace of radiance, causing the world to darken. From afar, the mountain range seemed even more vast and boundless. The beast region is up ahead. It's much larger than any of the other continents in Kyushu. Rumor has it that the beast region is as large as 3 continents. I wonder if that's true. The purple flame demonic phoenix floated in the air as it gazed at the vast and boundless beast region. Its purple eyes rippled. Du Xiaofu stood beside the purple flame demonic phoenix. In the past 10 days, he hadn't spoken much to the purple flame demonic phoenix. However, his injuries had healed quite a bit. The closer they got to the beast region, the more cultivators they met along the way. With Du Xiaofu's age and the purple flame demonic phoenix's beauty, it was inevitable that they would attract some trouble. However, the result was obvious. There was no need for Du Xiaofu to do anything. The purple flame demonic phoenix dealt with them. Chapter 1236. Swoosh, swoosh. As Du Xiaofu floated in the air and observed the entrance to the beast region, the sound of rushing wind suddenly rang out from within the beast region. Du Xiaofu raised his head and looked over. The sound of rushing wind resounded in front of him as many figures rushed out in a panic. Cuckoo! Behind those figures, many ferocious birds flapped their wings and flew out. Many of those ferocious birds circled in the air, their bodies emitting a terrifying aura. Their voices pierced through metal and cracked stone. Their bodies pressed down like dark clouds, their auras causing one's heart to tremble. The auras of these ferocious birds spread out, causing the vast space of the mountain range to almost freeze. They were as fast as lightning, bursting with runes and crushing many figures with their sharp claws, turning them into a bloody mist that poured down. Ah, miserable shrieks rang out one after another, but they did not have much strength to resist. Swoosh, swoosh, a few of the stronger and faster figures fled a little further away. Many of those ferocious birds' eyes were sharp and frightening as they stared intently at the few people fleeing in front of them. After circling in the air once, they did not continue to pursue. Amidst loud and clear cries, they quickly retreated into the beast region and disappeared. That was close. Those demonic beasts were too strong. We almost couldn't return. Our lives were hanging by a thread. Fortunately, we escaped quickly. They won't chase us out of the beast region. Several people floated in the air. Their ages varied. The youngest was in his 20s, while the oldest was in his 50s. There were a total of 6 people. All of them had lingering fear in their hearts and were rejoicing that they managed to escape with their lives. Everyone, may I ask what happened in front of us? Du Xiaofu's figure landed beside the 6 people and asked. The unforeseen event ahead had attracted Du Xiaofu's attention. Du Xiaofu's gaze swept across the 6 people, and his sharp yuan spirit power swept over them. He easily saw through their strength. Among the 6 people, the strongest was the old man in his 50s. He was at the perfect martial emperor stage. The weakest was not the young man in his 20s, but a middle-aged man in his 40s. He was only at the nirvana stage of the martial marquis stage. There was also a powerful spirit talisman master among the other 6. The 6 people recovered from their lingering fear when they saw the purple-robed young man appear without a sound. They all looked curiously at Du Xiaofu. Stop bothering us. Scram back to where you came from. A middle-aged man in his 30s had a gloomy expression. He glanced at Du Xiaofu. He glanced at Du Xiaofu. Was just a young man. He was a youth, was nothing in his book. He was just a young man. He did not take Du Xiaofu. He did not think he took was a young man was master. As the middle-aged man's voice fell, Du Xiaofu's indifferent expression slowly turned gloomy. He looked at the middle-aged man with a gloomy expression and said, Sir, it's fine if you don't want to say it. I'm just trying to find out the situation. Why do you have to be like this? The middle-aged man was stunned. He did not expect that the purple-robed young man in front of him would dare to question him. His gloomy expression suddenly turned cold. There was a chill in his eyes. He said eerily, Where did this brat come from? I'm not in a good mood today. You just have to provoke me. It seems like you don't know how to write the word death. Sigh. A soft sigh sounded, but it was like the sound of nature. The beautiful figure of the purple flame, demonic phoenix, stood beside Du Xiaofu silently. Her purple eyes glanced at Du Xiaofu intentionally or unintentionally. She was obviously disdainful. Her graceful figure stood there quietly, revealing a sense of laziness. When they saw the purple flame, demonic phoenix's mature and beautiful figure, the 6 of them stared straight at her. They revealed the most direct and unadulterated look a man should have towards a woman. Du Xiaofu frowned when he saw the purple flame, demonic phoenix's sudden appearance. However, Du Xiaofu's gaze was fixed on the middle-aged man. His expression grew even more gloomy. His lips curved into a cold smile as he said, If you don't have the strength, then don't be so arrogant. Perhaps you've forgotten how to write the word death. You spoke too harshly and cut off your own tongue as punishment. Otherwise die. Ha ha ha. The middle-aged man was stunned for a moment when he heard Du Xiaofu's words. Then he laughed loudly and said, Brat, so you've brought a woman here to show off. You're probably some spoiled brat from some mountain clan. Unfortunately, this is the beast region. When he finished speaking, the middle-aged man's expression suddenly turned cold. His aura instantly changed and a monstrous chill surged out. Boom! At the same time, the other 5 surrounded Du Xiaofu, intentionally or unintentionally. They seemed to be attacking together, trapping Du Xiaofu in the middle. It wasn't hard to see that the 6 of them had been working together for a long time. This wasn't the first time they'd done something like this. The auras of the 6 of them carried a sharp, bloody scent. Their gazes were cold. It was likely that the number of people who died at their hands wasn't small. When faced with Du Xiaofu, the 6 of them instinctively surrounded him. It was obvious that the 6 of them worked together seamlessly. They didn't underestimate this young man in front of them. Even if the 2 of them weren't strong, they definitely wouldn't be weak, since they dared to come to the beast region alone. The middle-aged man swept his gaze over the purple flame, demonic phoenix, beside Du Xiaofu. His eyes were filled with greed. Then he coldly stared at Du Xiaofu and sneered, "This woman isn't bad. We'll take her for you today. It just so happens that we've lost quite a few people from Cold Wind Cave today. We need to kill a few people to vent our anger. You're courting death. You can't blame anyone else." As his voice fell, the middle-aged man's face filled with disdain and malevolence. Light cyan profound energy covered his body. He wasn't weak at all. A low shout came from his throat. "Die, brat!" Boom! The middle-aged man suddenly stomped his foot in the air and charged towards Du Xiaofu. His fist was covered in light cyan runes, causing the space to tremble. Filled with absolute killing intent, he instantly arrived before Du Xiaofu. However, although this kind of speed was fast, it was no different from playing with a tiger in front of an expert to Du Xiaofu. "Die your granny. Do you think I'm a pushover?" Du Xiaofu cursed. Just as the fist was about to reach him, his right hand suddenly shook and he directly punched out. A faint golden light immediately gushed out from his fist. Bang! The 2 fists collided. A low muffled sound rang out and a resplendent golden light flashed. The 5 people around them didn't even have time to see. Clearly, the middle-aged man's body was instantly enveloped by the golden light. Then his body exploded into a mist of blood. He didn't even know how he died. Seeing the scene, the remaining 5 people were instantly dumbfounded. A sense of horror crept up from the depths of their souls. Run! The old man in his 50s, who was in the completion of the martial royal realm, was the first to come to his senses. He quickly ran away. Run quickly! The 4 people around him came to their senses in an instant. They immediately soared into the air and ran away quickly. Bang, 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 bang. A low explosion resounded. Among the 5 people who ran away, purple flames suddenly burst out from the bodies of 4 of them. Their bodies exploded in the purple flames and their souls were destroyed. "Tell me, what's going on in front?" The body of the purple flame, demonic phoenix, appeared in front of the old man in his 50s. An invisible energy froze the surrounding space. Chapter 1237. The old man's eyes glazed over, his mind and soul chilled. Only now did the old man realize they hadn't run into some spoiled brat from a large sect who'd brought a woman to the beast region to flaunt himself, but 2 absolute fiends. The strength of the 2 people in front of him wasn't something he could hope to touch. "Sirs, please spare my life. There are many beasts up ahead, searching for battle servants. If you're not strong enough or talented enough, they'll immediately kill you." Then the old man's frantic narration told Du Xiaofu that the beast region had been in a state of chaos lately. For some reason, the powerful beasts had been searching for battle servants all over the place. Normally, the powerful beasts would only search within the beast region. But recently, the beasts had suddenly rushed to the outer regions in large numbers, causing the opportunists, trainers, and adventurers to suffer unspeakably. These people weren't good people either. They came from a 3rd-rate power called Chilling Wind Cave in Shang Province. Normally, they'd robbed and killed people along the way, taking advantage of opportunities to plunder benefits. Not long ago, they'd run into the beasts and been beaten to a pulp. Now, they'd provoked Du Xiaofu and the purple flame, demon phoenix. "Has there been any news of a little girl whose true form is a dragon in the beast region?" The purple flame demon phoenix asked the trembling old man, completely uninterested in the beast's search for battle servants. "No, I haven't." The old man shook his head frantically. It wasn't hard to tell that this peerlessly beautiful woman in front of him was even more difficult to deal with than that youth. "If you deserve to die, then die." As the elder's voice faded, The purple eyes of the purple flame demonic phoenix moved slightly. Space rippled and solidified. The space around the elder immediately distorted, like a fried dough twist. Then the space exploded. The elder's body was blown apart, and his spirit was destroyed. Don't waste time on these people. Given their strength, they probably don't know anything about Little Star, said the purple flame demon phoenix. Her voice was as calm and clear as ever, as if she were talking to Du Xiaofu. Then her mature, graceful figure shot through the air towards the beast region. Du Xiaofu had already been used to the tranquility and calmness of the purple flame demonic phoenix over the past 10 days. He had not spoken more than 10 sentences with this woman over the past 10 days. In these 10 days, the two of them had been burying their heads in the road. In the vast mountain range, majestic mountains and strange rocks stood tall. Those towering trees had existed for hundreds or thousands of years. There were some towering trees that were over 100 zhang tall, and their crowns were like umbrellas that extended over 1,000 zhang, making them look like giants. Awoo! Within the mountain range, the roars of demonic beasts could be heard everywhere. This was the beast region, a paradise for Yao beasts. It was incomparably vast and filled with all kinds of Yao beasts. Rumor had it that the deeper one went into the beast region, the stronger the Yao would be. There were only a few weaker Yao beasts in the outer regions. However, things had changed recently. Quite a few powerful Yao beasts had suddenly appeared in the outer regions of the beast region, and they had appeared in large groups. Those Yao beasts were so powerful that the human adventurers and trainers in the vicinity had no way of contending against them. Not long after Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demonic phoenix entered the beast region, a wry smile appeared on his face. Several enormous birds had set their sights on him and the purple flame demonic phoenix. Their cultivation bases weren't low. Some had even reached the beast emperor realm. However, those enormous birds seemed to have sensed Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demonic phoenix's aura. They stared intently at the two of them as they circled beneath the towering trees. They didn't immediately attack. Du Xiaofu didn't attack either. Those birds were the ones that had chased after the people from Cold Wind Cave not long ago. Their bloodlines weren't low. They were close to the heavenly beast rankings. However, they weren't on the heavenly beast rankings. They were only near the top of the earth beast rankings. The purple flame demonic phoenix had no intention of attacking either. Its purple eyes flickered, and it flew deeper into the forest. Awoo! The deeper they went, the more roars they heard. More and more Yao beasts appeared. There were quite a few low-tier Yao beasts, but there were also quite a few powerful Yao beasts. Above the Kyushu at the Beast King realm and Beast Emperor realm, Yao beasts were practically all in human form. However, in the Beast region, it was rare to see Beast King realm and Beast Emperor realm Yao beasts in human form. Every single one of them maintained their original appearance. This was the Beast region, the world of Yao beasts. It was said that in human form, it was more suitable for Yao beasts to cultivate. That was why they would only take human form when they were cultivating. The purple flame demonic phoenix and Du Xiaofu had both retracted their auras. However, the invisible aura emanating from their bodies caused the surrounding Yao beasts to feel apprehensive. It was an instinctive fear. Awoo! The two of them fearlessly ventured deeper into the forest, attracting the curious gazes of many Yao beasts. They hissed softly, but none of them dared to attack. They could only watch as the two of them ventured deeper. Something's not right. Why are there so many Yao beasts in the outer perimeter? Du Xiaofu looked around and frowned. According to what he knew, there shouldn't be so many Yao beasts in the outer perimeter of the beast region. Not to mention, there were so many powerful Yao beasts. Crash, the air trembled. Leaves fluttered from the canopy, and branches snapped. Fierce winds swept the canopy away like a tidal wave. Screech! A ferocious bird over 300 meters long, its wings as hard as steel, glowed with an azure light. Its sharp eyes were fixed on Du Xiaofu and the purple flame, demonic phoenix. This was an azure feather, violetwood goose. It was at the peak of the beast emperor realm and had the bloodline of a Yao beast on the heavenly beast list. It was a ruler. There were even 4 human battle servants hovering in front of the green feather, violent blood goose. The azure feather, violetwood goose, stared at Du Xiaofu and the purple flame, demonic phoenix. It said sternly, "Which clan are you from? Not just anyone can enter." Scram! The purple flame, demonic phoenix, didn't even raise its head. Its reply to the green feather, violent blood goose, was only a single word. "Humph, you're courting death. Capture them. I want them alive." The azure feather, violetwood goose, was a ruler. Its dignity couldn't be challenged. Its ferocious eyes were filled with coldness as it shouted at the 4 battle servants beside it. Boom! The 4 battle servants' faces sank. They immediately rushed out. The 4 battle servants' cultivations weren't weak. One of them was at the profound martial emperor realm, while the other 3 were at the peak of the martial king realm. They were all wrapped in talismans as they charged at Du Xiaofu and the purple flame, demonic phoenix. Humph! Du Xiaofu snorted and directly attacked. His purple robe shook as he waved his sleeve. A ring of golden talisman runes erupted like a resplendent sun. It suddenly rushed out. Bang, 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 bang. A muffled explosion followed. Golden light shone resplendently, and the 4 combat servants were blasted away before they could even react. They smashed into the surrounding towering trees, causing the trees to snap apart. The earth quaked, the mountains shook, and the ground cracked. At the same time, Du Xiaofu's figure was like an uninhabited land. He was as fast as lightning as he appeared above the azure feather, violetwood goose like a ghost. He opened and closed his fist as he directly punched down. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded as golden light erupted. The huge azure feather, violetwood goose directly fell from the sky and heavily smashed into the ground. The ground cracked and shattered rocks shot out. Poochie, the azure feather, violetwood goose, spat out a large mouthful of blood. Its sharp eyes were still filled with fear. The purple-robed youth's terrifying and domineering aura made it feel like the aura of a sovereign. That was the pressure of the bloodline and soul. It wasn't something it could contend against. At this moment, the golden light aura exploded from Du Xiaofu's body. It was the aura of the golden-winged rock. Roar! The surrounding beasts all trembled and whined as they prostrated themselves on the ground. They couldn't resist Du Xiaofu's aura at all. Their instinctive fear surged out of them. What's going on here? Why are you all gathered here? Du Xiaofu stood atop the azure feather, violetwood goose. His voice was low and his aura incomparably domineering. The heavenly beast tomb is about to open. That's why we're gathered here. The azure feather, violetwood goose didn't dare hide anything. It immediately replied. Under the pressure of that sovereign aura, the depths of its beast soul felt cold. What's the heavenly beast tomb? Du Xiaofu didn't understand. He wasn't too familiar with the affairs of the beast region. The heavenly beast tomb is a legend of the beast region. Legend has it that in ancient times it was a place where the various clans of the beast region fought. Countless powerful beasts died in a bloodbath. To the beasts, there are enormous benefits inside. However, the heavenly beast tomb opens for an indefinite period of time. It may be thousands of years or even hundreds of years. No one knows. It all depends on luck. As for the specifics of the heavenly beast tomb, there are only a few legends. However, every time the heavenly beast tomb opens, a few peak beast clans will send their descendants to fight for it. Even the dragons and phoenixes would come. Before the azure feather, violetwood goose could say anything, the violetwood phoenix's voice had already entered Du Xiaofu's ears. Then, her beautiful figure flashed into the distance. Du Xiaofu watched the violetwood phoenix leave. His expression changed slightly. Chapter 1238. Is there any news of a little girl whose true form is a dragon? Du Xiaofu asked the goose. Are you talking about our Lord Purple Star, demonic dragon emperor? The goose asked, trembling. Purple Star, demonic dragon emperor. When Du Xiaofu heard this, he raised his eyebrows. It really did sound like Little Star. Where is the Purple Star, demonic dragon emperor now? Du Xiaofu immediately asked. He was more and more convinced that the Purple Star, demonic dragon emperor was Little Star. The Purple Star, demonic dragon emperor should have reached the Heavenly Beast tomb by now. If the Heavenly Beast tomb is already open, the Purple Star, demonic dragon emperor might have already entered the Heavenly Beast tomb. The goose said. Du Xiaofu frowned and asked, Then why are you here? The Purple Star, demonic dragon emperor ordered us to find some good battle servants to enter. Otherwise, we can't compete with the other races. The green feather, violent blood goose replied. However, it had some doubts in its heart at this moment. The purple-robed young man on its back clearly had the aura of a demonic beast. But why was he completely unaware of the Heavenly Beast tomb? For the beast race, there should be no one who did not know the situation of the Heavenly Beast tomb. What does the battle servants have to do with the Heavenly Beast tomb? Du Xiaofu was even more confused. Rumor has it that the core area of the Heavenly Beast tomb has a strange restriction. We beasts are unable to enter. Only humans can enter. That's why the Purple Star, demonic dragon emperor, sent us out to find some good battle servants. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to compete with the other beasts for opportunities, said the cyan feather-blood goose. All right, don't provoke me again. Otherwise, I'll stew you. Du Xiaofu shouted. His figure then soared into the sky and chased after the purple flame demonic phoenix. Oh, whoa! As Du Xiaofu left, the demonic beasts in the surroundings finally dared to stand up. They still had some lingering fear. Not long after, Du Xiaofu caught up with the purple flame, demonic phoenix. He curled his lips and said, Little Star might be in the Heavenly Beast tomb. I heard it. The Heavenly Beast tomb shouldn't be far from here, but it's not close either. With our speed, we should be able to arrive tomorrow morning. I hope Little Star is there. The purple flame, demonic phoenix, said. Her voice was a little less clear, but there was a little more seriousness between her brows. She continued, I also hope that little guy won't be too ostentatious. Every time the Heavenly Beast tomb opens, there will be a storm in the monster domain. Many beast sovereigns will enter. With Little Star's body in defense, there shouldn't be any problems in the beast sovereign realm. Du Xiaofu said. After listening to the purple flame, fiendish phoenix, he felt that the opening of the Heavenly Beast tomb in the Beast region was comparable to the opening of the Tianhuang continent. Some of the top beast races are not to be trifled with. Not to mention the dragons and phoenixes, even the pure-blooded Qiankis and Taotais are not to be trifled with. They are not much weaker than the dragons and phoenixes. Most importantly, when the Celestial Beast tomb opens, even Beast Region cultivators will enter. Beast Region cultivators? Du Xiaofu's face immediately turned ugly when he heard that. The Beast Domain realm was just as terrifying as the woman who had turned on him at the drop of a hat. Once a Beast Domain realm expert entered as well, no one else would have a chance, even if there were benefits. Seeing Du Xiaofu's expression change, the purple flame fiendish phoenix glanced at him and said, But it is said that there is a special restriction inside the Heavenly Beast tomb. Beast region cultivators will be suppressed to the half-domain level, and half-domain level will be suppressed to the peak of the Beast Sovereign Realm. The strength inside cannot surpass the Beast Sovereign Realm. The strongest is the half-domain level. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. So that's how it is. However, the Beast Realm was suppressed to the half-realm level, and the half-realm level was suppressed to the peak of the Nirvana level of the Beast Sovereign Realm. Even so, the half-realm level and the peak of the Beast Sovereign Realm should still be stronger than ordinary half-realm and peak of the Nirvana level. Is there really an opportunity inside the Heavenly Beast tomb? Du Xiaofu asked the purple flame demonic phoenix curiously, as they sped through the sky that was gradually enveloped by the twilight and the mountains below. Of course, there are great opportunities inside the heavenly beast tomb. It is said that many beasts obtained great opportunities inside 2,000 years ago. Now, those who obtained great opportunities are all marquises of the beast region. They rule over large areas of the beast region, and their reputations are illustrious. The purple flame fiendish phoenix gave a rare reply to Du Xiaofu. Afterwards, she even told Du Xiaofu quite a bit about the heavenly beast tomb. According to the purple flame fiendish phoenix, Du Xiaofu learned that the heavenly beast tomb was filled with beast kings that had fallen and left behind countless inheritances. It also gave birth to countless heavenly treasures and spiritual medicines. It was extremely mysterious and contained endless opportunities. However, it also concealed great dangers. Opportunities and dangers coexisted. Roar. In the night, the two of them traveled as fast as lightning. Along the way, they encountered groups of ferocious beasts that roared and howled, shaking the mountains and rivers. Their ferocious eyes were like stars. They seemed to be rushing towards the heavenly beast tomb. Du Xiaofu and the purple flame, fiendish phoenix, both released a faint aura. The surrounding beasts didn't dare to block their path. They avoided them from afar in fear. Early morning the next day, with a red tint of dawn, the mountain range in front rose and fell. Looking up, it was like looking at a strange painting. Layer upon layer of mountains stretched out into the distance, the outline of which was clear and distinct. At the end of the line of sight, there were boundless clouds and mountains, causing one to feel relaxed and happy. We've arrived. The purple flame, fiendish phoenix, floated in the air as she spoke to Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu stopped and looked ahead. It was a vast space, and the surrounding area was hundreds of miles wide. There were many rocky mountain peaks scattered in the circular area. The surrounding rocky mountain peaks were surrounded by deep valleys and chasms. Among them, there were two main peaks that were even taller than the rest. Looking from the front to the back, a deep valley appeared behind the two main peaks. It really looked like the entrance to a huge tomb. However, at this moment, a huge spatial passageway had opened in the middle of the deep valley. It flickered with multicolored light, filled with mysterious runes, and emitted an ancient aura. Faint roars of demonic beasts could be heard. Roar! Woo-woo! At this moment, the demonic beasts in the circular and empty area in front of them were roaring as they rushed towards the two main peaks. The heavenly beast tomb has been opened. I don't know how long it will be open. During the opening period, all demonic beasts and humans can enter. Once the heavenly beast tomb closes, everyone will be pushed out. If Little Star is here, he should have already entered the heavenly beast tomb. As soon as the purple flame demonic phoenix's voice fell, its figure suddenly turned into a purple rainbow and rushed directly into the heavenly beast tomb. Du Xiaofu followed the purple flame demonic phoenix into the light passageway in the valley. He suddenly felt a strange feeling. It was as if the space was in chaos. Runes flickered, dazzling, and demonic beasts roared endlessly. Runes swept forward and disappeared, emitting an ancient aura. About a few minutes later, a white light flickered in front of them. Du Xiaofu's figure rushed out and floated in midair. What appeared in front of Du Xiaofu was a space that was extremely rich in natural energy. Towering mountains stretched as far as the eye could see. It seemed as though it was possible to see the remains of some ancient cities between the mountains. At this moment, in this vast space that was rich in heaven and earth energy, there was an explosion of astonishing vitality. There were already endless demonic beasts scattered in all directions like a swarm of locusts. Their roars were like thunder, and their fierce auras rose and fell continuously. In the spatial passageway behind them, there was an endless stream of demonic beasts pouring out. There were so many demonic beasts, many of which were extremely large. When the runes burst out, the entire sky seemed to be rumbling. This scene was much more terrifying than the beast-tied Du Xiaofu had seen in the dark forest and the savage beast mountain range. At this moment, the cultivation of these demonic beasts was many times stronger than the demonic beasts in the savage beast mountain range and the dark forest. There were many beast emperor realm and beast sovereign realm demonic beasts among them. There were tens of millions of demonic beasts, or even more, gathered together. It was a scene that could be imagined. Roar! As he listened to the thunderous roars of the demonic beasts, the earth rumbled and trembled, and the terrifying shock waves blasted out, causing Du Xiaofu to inwardly suck in a breath of cold air. Countless ancestors of the beast clan have fallen here, leaving behind the remains of countless ancestors of the beast clan. The purple flame demonic phoenix looked at some of the ruins in the distance and seemed to be enlightened. There were some fluctuations in its purple eyes, as if it was recalling something. That's a winged dragon. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu seemed to have discovered a new continent. In the sky not far away, there was a dragon's roar that sounded like thunder. A strange flood dragon with a pair of wings on its back had appeared. Its entire body was covered in scales that looked like dragon scales. It had sharp claws, dense scales, and a bloody mouth. It was strange and hideous. Chapter 1239. It's a winged dragon. Many monsters in the surroundings also noticed the ferocious winged dragon. They were intimidated by its aura and didn't dare to approach, retreating one after another. Du Xiaofu couldn't help but take a few more glances at the ferocious winged dragon. Although the winged dragon had been introduced in some of the unofficial histories, the ancient heaven sect, and inheritances left behind by his master, the venerable artifact. The winged dragon was a powerful bloodline among dragons. However, this was the first time Du Xiaofu had seen a real winged dragon with his own eyes. Ayo! After the winged dragon appeared, it let out a low roar. Its eyes flashed with a cold light. Its enormous body swept across the area, and with a sweep of its tail, it disappeared into the distance like lightning. Bang, bang! However, the surrounding monsters suffered an unexpected calamity. Their bodies were sent flying, and it was unknown whether they were dead or alive. From this, one could see how arrogant the winged dragon was. It didn't put other monsters in its eyes at all. Ayo! A roar came from the sky. A pure black monster, dog the size of a tiger, appeared. Its body was robust and it had sharp fangs. Its roar was like thunder, and the aura it emitted was not inferior to the winged dragon that had just left. That's a heavenly dog. Du Xiaofu looked up in astonishment. That was jealousy of the rarely seen heavenly dog. Du Xiaofu didn't expect to see the Empress of Heaven in the heavenly beast tomb. The beast region was truly a paradise for monsters. As Du Xiaofu's gaze swept across the area, he saw many powerful monsters on the heavenly beast ranking. He couldn't help but sigh inwardly. His golden-winged rock body tempering cultivation method had already reached the second level. He no longer needed the blood essence of monsters on the heavenly beast ranking to refine his body. Otherwise, there would be a large amount of blood essence right in front of him right now. It would be nice if I could capture a few cubs and bring them back to Stone City. Du Xiaofu's eyes darted around. There were monsters on the heavenly beast ranking everywhere, and he couldn't help but have some ideas. If he had the chance, it would be a good choice to bring a few young demonic beasts from the heavenly beast list back to Stone City. In Du Xiaofu's heart, if the Du family's Erling was allowed to grow and train with these demonic beasts on the heavenly beast ranking, it would definitely be quite beneficial for him. It's time to set off. Let's find Little Star first. Just as Du Xiaofu was lost in his thoughts, the purple flame demonic phoenix's heavenly voice entered his ears. Only then did Du Xiaofu return to his senses. Let's go! Golden light flickered beneath Du Xiaofu's feet as he swept across the sky and left. Amidst the demonic beasts that blotted out the sky and covered the earth, he actually felt his blood boiling. The contours of this space were boundless. The mountains were continuous and the abyss was connected. Du Xiaofu searched for Little Star along the way, trying to sense Little Star's aura, but to no avail. Along the way, he saw even more powerful demonic beasts. Each one was stronger than the last, and their bloodlines were thicker than the last. Along the way, Du Xiaofu also saw quite a few human battle servants. The stronger the demonic beast, the more battle servants there were, and the stronger they were. Du Xiaofu even saw quite a few martial exalted realm battle servants, and all of them were extraordinarily talented. Any one of these battle servants would be able to make a name for themselves on Kyushu. Battle servants are very common in the beast region. There are even people who intentionally follow powerful demonic beasts to become their battle servants and obtain their resources. Some powerful demonic beasts will also spare no effort to raise their own battle servants. Right now, there are quite a few experts on Kyushu who seem to have made a name for themselves a long time ago. Even sect masters may have once been battle servants of powerful existences in the beast region. Don't think that the human race is the true ruler of this world. Many of the human race's peak existences were once battle servants of ancient existences in the beast region. They're the beast region's spies in the outside world. They can't develop without the beast region's support. The purple flame demonic phoenix seemed to sense Du Xiaofu's doubts about the battle servants. Intentionally or otherwise, she said this to Du Xiaofu. Her voice contained an indescribable meaning. It wasn't disdain, but it also contained a trace of disdain. Du Xiaofu's gaze twitched. No wonder so many talented people were willing to become battle servants. In other words, the human race had always wanted to plant their power in the beast region. They even hoped to control the beast region. However, the beast region hadn't been idle either. Many of the factions in front of them had long since been sent to Kyushu. When those battle servants left the beast region and became overlords, they were actually equivalent to the demonic beast's power in the outside world. Du Xiaofu continued to search for news of Little Star. After half a day, he encountered more and more demonic beasts. Not only was he unable to find Little Star, but Du Xiaofu also learned from the discussions of the demonic beasts and battle servants that quite a few powerful demonic beast experts had secretly joined forces to deal with the Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor. The Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor was very likely Little Star. When he heard this, Du Xiaofu naturally couldn't be happy. However, Du Xiaofu couldn't do anything about it. There were many demonic beasts here. He had quite a few enemies in the beast region. Although the dragons weren't in the beast region, the four seas were nearby. Not to mention, according to the purple flame demonic phoenix, the true lineage of the dragons would definitely come. Once his identity was exposed, it wouldn't be easy to clean up the mess. However, Du Xiaofu wasn't afraid. In any case, everyone here was the same as the demonic beasts. Even if a martial region or beast region cultivator entered, they would be suppressed to the half region. If he fought with his life on the line, even a half region cultivator wouldn't necessarily be able to do anything to him. The vast space around him had been littered with traces of blood. There were broken walls and broken runes that flickered, emitting an ancient aura. However, this aura was left behind from ancient times. There were no treasures left behind. All the demonic beasts were searching for opportunities. Du Xiaofu also wanted to find some opportunities while looking for Little Star. After all, this was the Heavenly Beast Tomb. It was a mysterious place. Unfortunately, Du Xiaofu didn't find any opportunities on his way here. He couldn't help but feel a bit disappointed. I wonder whose battle servant will be stronger this time. A strange tiger that was several meters tall sat in the sky above a vast broken wall. There were many demonic beasts and battle servants standing behind this strange tiger. It was even instructing a few battle servants to search for something in the broken wall below. It said that Huang Linger, Dragon 8, Dragon 7, and the others all found extraordinary battle servants this time. A towering bear with the body of a giant, but its head was a bear's head. Its aura was powerful, and there were many demonic beasts and battle servants standing beside it as it spoke to the strange tiger. It said that back in the Tianhuang continent, there was a human called Du Xiaofu. It said that he was the strongest of the Kyushu's younger generation. Even Dragon 9 was killed by him. It's probably not bad if we can take that guy as a battle servant. The strange tiger smiled, revealing its fangs. The aura it emitted was very frightening. I've also heard of Du Xiaofu. He killed Dragon 9. It said that the dragons were furious, but for some reason they didn't go to Kyushu to settle the score, said the bearded man. His voice was so loud that it seemed to shake the air and spread far and wide. That was a few years ago. Although Dragon 9 wasn't weak, he was careless back then. If I can meet that Du Xiaofu, I'll definitely take him as a battle servant. The strange tiger was full of confidence. Its voice was loud and clear, and it was very fierce. When it spoke, many demonic beasts passing by didn't dare to approach. It seems you're quite popular in the beast region. 2 figures flitted across the sky above the broken wall. The purple flame demonic phoenix said to Du Xiaofu with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. It's been a long time since I've had bear paws and tiger bone soup. Once we find Little Star, we'll definitely have a chance. Du Xiaofu's face darkened. He gnashed his teeth. He hadn't imagined he'd be so lucky in the beast region. What surprised Du Xiaofu even more was that there were demonic beasts eyeing him. This made Du Xiaofu's heart burn with anger. He couldn't tolerate others trying to take advantage of him. Inside the heavenly beast tomb, in a vast, ancient space, a towering mountain range stretched out in a valley. A 5 or 6-year-old girl stood atop a boulder. Beside the little girl, there were several ferocious beasts standing respectfully. There were also 2 huge, ferocious birds circling in the air. Each of these demonic beasts' auras were extremely powerful. Any one of them was a peak existence above Kyushu's. Keep looking. There's not even a single good battle servant. It'll be very troublesome when the time comes. Are you all idiots? The young and tender voice was filled with anger. The little girl's petite body was wearing a red dress that was surrounded by countless star patterns. Although she was only 5 or 6 years old, there was a faint golden light deep within her eyes on her chubby face. She was demonic and noble, emitting a supreme aura. Her aura caused the few incomparably powerful demonic beasts around her to quietly tremble. Yes, we're already searching for battle servants. The sinister demonic beasts immediately nodded. One of the birds in the air said, respectfully, Lord Dragon Emperor, there are a few juniors from different races who are trying to form factions to deal with you. What about you? They're granny bears. Let them have more people first. If there's too few, I can't be bothered to make a move. When the time comes, I'll uproot them and teach those blind bastards a lesson. There was a rune imprint between the girl's eyebrows. She looked noble and demonic. Her blue-black hair was tied into a ponytail. Somehow, she looked like a ruffian. She continued, keep looking for my father's whereabouts. I have a feeling that he'll definitely come to the beast region. Demonic beasts roared all around the mountain peak. Several figures stood at the peak of the mountain. 2 of them were young men with imposing appearances. Their bodies emitted an aura that caused the space around them to feel stifling. One of them had shoulder-length blue hair and wore a blue robe. His temperament was calm and elegant, but his formless aura made one feel as if they were facing a vast, boundless ocean. This time, our dragon clan is determined to win. Chapter 1240. The blue-haired young man's voice seemed to be able to shake the space. His eyes rippled like the waves of the sea. Of course we must get it. The other young man said in a deep voice. He wore a crimson battle suit that seemed to be burning with flames. The vast space was extremely mysterious, and the energy of heaven and earth was extremely rich. This place is really strange. Du Xiaofu sighed. Back in the Tianhuang mainland, the sealed ancient lands and other sealed places were almost all lacking in energy of heaven and earth. However, the heavenly beast tomb was rich in energy of heaven and earth. Du Xiaofu even felt that if he cultivated here, he would be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. In a vast valley, half of a huge beast skeleton emerged from the ground, while the other half was still buried in the ground. It seemed that the beast skeleton had only been revealed recently. The skeleton, which was hundreds of feet long, was filled with flowing light and emitted wisps of spiritual energy. One could vaguely see that it was the skeleton of a tiger-shaped demonic beast. This huge set of tiger bones released a terrifying pressure from afar, causing ordinary demonic beasts to not dare to come close. The bones of the tiger clan came from the ancient times, and it still carries the might of a tiger. It must be a powerful existence of the tiger clan. The secret bone must still be inside. Many powerful demonic beasts immediately approached, their eyes filled with excitement. They immediately pounced on the huge tiger skeleton, wanting to obtain the secret bone of the tiger clan's expert. It was definitely a precious treasure. Boom! Instantly, the huge demonic beasts rushed out, releasing a terrifying and ferocious aura. Runes filled the air, and no one wanted to be a step behind. Who dares to fight for it? The secret bone is mine. Just at that moment, a loud shout was heard. A humanoid figure appeared. It was like a humanoid, ferocious beast. Its speed and posture made it seem like a humanoid, ferocious bird. Its speed was as fast as lightning. Boom! Boom! The two mysterious sovereign realm demonic beasts that were the first to approach the tiger clan's bones were instantly sent flying. They let out cries of agony as their bodies slammed into a nearby rock, shattering the rock into pieces. The sudden change caused the surrounding demonic beasts to have a drastic change in expression. Those were two beast sovereigns, yet they were sent flying in an instant. The two beast sovereign realm mystical level monsters were indeed sent flying by the figure that came across the sky. Their bodies then entered the bones of the tiger clan monster. That figure seemed extremely small in the face of that humongous skeleton of the tiger clan. He was dressed in a purple robe, and there was a faint golden light rippling on his body. Then, the figure burrowed into the belly of the skeleton. As the purple-robed youth's palm radiated with golden light, a foot-long beast bone that was covered with mysterious runes and seemed to faintly emit a tiger's roar from the skeleton above his head was forcefully pulled out. Roar! A tiger's roar came from within the broken beast bone. Dazzling runes suddenly erupted like a sun, wanting to transform into an enormous yellow tiger that pounced out. The shadow of the slanted eyes tiger was incomparably ferocious. It looked like it was about to pounce, and it was extremely fierce. A terrifying pressure erupted from the resplendent rune. Just the pressure from a single bone was enough to make Origin Primordial Beast realm experts, and even Nirvana Beast realm experts tremble. The sky-ripping tiger, mystic bone of the beast realm. Not far away, a beautiful woman in purple looked at the resplendent runes within the skeleton of the tiger clan expert, and her expression changed. Don't blame me. With your mystic bone, I will definitely bring glory to the tiger clan. Remember the kindness of the tiger clan. The purple-robed youth clasped his hands together and bowed. As soon as he finished speaking, golden light erupted from his palms. His 5 fingers curled slightly, and a golden claw mark distorted space and grabbed at the illusory, slanted eyes tiger. The mystic bone doesn't belong to you. Suddenly, a humongous, ferocious bird flapped its wings and pounced over like a bolt of lightning. Its entire body emitted a terrifying wave of energy. In an instant, a pair of sharp claws grabbed at the shadow of the slanted eyes tiger. The mystic bone belongs to me. No one can take it away from me. The purple-robed youth didn't seem to panic. He shook his left arm, and a golden light erupted. Layers of golden runes overlapped like a ferocious bird flapping its wings. A domineering pressure suddenly surged out and immediately swept away the humongous bird. Chi-la! At the same time, the purple-robed youth's claw landed. The domineering aura that was released from his body was like that of a supreme being, causing the eyes of the slanted eyes tiger to tremble. Subsequently, the phantasm was shattered, and a crystal-clear, mystic bone landed in his hand. The purple-robed youth was naturally Du Xiaofu. With a satisfied smile on his face, he happily kept the Tiger clan's mystic bone in his hand. Du Xiaofu naturally felt that this mystic bone was extraordinary. It was likely that even if it was placed in the ancient heaven sect, it would definitely be in existence at the level of a treasure. Chi la la! As the mystic bone was broken, the pressure on the entire skeleton of the Tiger clan suddenly dissipated. The light and pressure that originally filled the air also gradually disappeared. Not good. Why is the pressure so strong? The ferocious bird that was sent flying by Du Xiaofu fell to the ground. It felt the domineering aura that spread out from the youth's body, causing the depths of its Yuan spirit to tremble. Its entire body was filled with yellow light, and its wings were as sharp as blades. It immediately flapped its wings and flew into the distance, not daring to stay any longer. "Since you want to snatch my mystic bone, don't run away." As the ferocious bird was about to escape, Du Xiaofu shouted loudly. His figure directly flew out, as if he had transformed into a golden rainbow. Regardless of whether it was his speed or his aura, they both far surpassed the ferocious bird. Immediately, a punch directly struck the bird's abdomen. "Coo!" the ferocious bird screeched. Immediately, a resplendent yellow light erupted from its body. Its blade-like feathers were like scales, each of them standing upright. The feathers on its abdomen were shattered, and fresh blood splattered on the ground. Following which, its body staggered in the air as it flapped its wings and swayed. "I'll fight it out with you." The ferocious bird flew into a rage, its eyes blazing. It seemed to be in existence with a fiery bloodline. After stabilizing its body, a bright light rolled around its huge body, and a terrifying aura swept out. It was like an earth-shattering blade light that swept towards Du Xiaofu. Its aura was sharp and fierce as it cut through space. A complete beast-sovereign realm, space, rending demonic blade falcon, is indeed not weak. Du Xiaofu's eyes were slightly surprised. The ferocious bird in front of him was a space-rending demonic blade falcon. It was famous for its speed and abnormal feathers. It was in existence on the heavenly beast list. Following which, the golden light around Du Xiaofu trembled. He directly raised his hand and punched out. Rumble! The golden light of this punch was like a rainbow, as if it was erupting in all directions. Wherever it passed, the space rumbled. Immediately, it destroyed the attack of the space-rending demonic blade falcon and sent its huge body flying. Is this person a human or a beast? He's too strong. Run! The eyes of the space-rending demonic blade falcon trembled. It was terrified. The aura of the purple robe youth was too terrifying. It immediately took advantage of the situation to escape. Speed was also one of its trump cards. Still want to escape? Du Xiaofu saw through the intention of the space-rending demonic blade falcon. He once again soared into the sky, leaping out like a fierce tiger. He landed on the back of the space-rending demonic blade falcon with a speed that no one could see clearly. "Cuckoo!" The space-rending demonic blade falcon screeched. Yellow light erupted from its body, and it wanted to flip Du Xiaofu over. Bang! Du Xiaofu was like a boulder. His fist exploded with golden light and directly landed on the space-rending demonic blade falcon. Bang! A low muffled sound rang out. The space-rending demonic blade falcon wailed. Its body directly fell to the ground, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to shake. The ground cracked, and many boulders were shattered. Its back was dripping with blood. Is that person a battle servant or a demonic beast? He's too strong. Many demonic beasts in the surroundings looked at each other. They did not dare to approach. The two beast sovereign stage mysterious level demonic beasts were sent flying. At this moment, the perfect beast sovereign stage space, rending demonic blade falcon, was directly trampled. The other demonic beasts did not dare to approach. However, when they saw the other party obtain the secret bone, the surrounding demonic beasts seemed to be somewhat unwilling to leave. However, Du Xiaofu, who was standing on the back of the space-rending demonic blade falcon with the strength of a boulder, had a difficult expression on his face. Looking at the blade-like feathers of the enormous space-rending demonic blade falcon under his feet, Du Xiaofu frowned. He was very depressed. He said to the space-rending demonic blade falcon, "The feathers on your body are too difficult to pluck. If I eat you, it will be troublesome to wash them off." Chapter 1241. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, the space-rending fiend blade falcon's hair stood on end. That fellow actually wanted to eat it. Was this terrifying fellow a human or a demonic beast? Although the savage, purple-robed youth had the aura of a demonic beast sovereign, he was clearly a human. But if he was a human, how could he have the aura of a demonic beast sovereign? This confused the space-rending fiend blade falcon. "Now I'll give you a choice. Do you want me to pull out your bones, draw out your blood, and eat your flesh? Or do you want to become my mount?" Du Xiaofu frowned and asked the space-rending fiend blade falcon. "Impossible. My space-rending fiend blade falcon tribe will never become someone's mount." The space-rending fiend blade falcon roared loudly. The space-rending fiend blade falcon was violent and unyielding. It would definitely not become someone's mount. It was said that in the past, the space-rending fiend blade falcon tribe had encountered human experts. Those human experts wanted to take the space-rending fiend blade falcon as a mount. Unfortunately, the space-rending fiend blade falcon would rather die than submit. Bang! However, as soon as the space-rending demonic blade falcon finished speaking, its back was directly stomped down by Du Xiaofu's foot. The stomp caused its feathers to shatter and blood to drip down. It was as if its white bones were about to be exposed. "I'm only asking you if you want to become my mount or let me draw out your blood and dig out your bones. Whether you want to be my mount or not has nothing to do with me." Du Xiaofu shouted loudly. His expression started to become fierce. He changed his attitude without mercy. As Du Xiaofu's words fell, many demonic beasts in the surroundings were dumbfounded. All of them were secretly trembling. The purple-robed young man was too ferocious and savage. He didn't put the space-rending demonic blade falcon in his eyes at all. If the space-rending demonic blade falcon said no, the purple-robed young man would attack without hesitation. The space-rending fiend blade falcon cried out in pain. The talisman engravings on its body were suppressed until they became dimmer and dimmer. Its internal organs were about to be crushed. At this moment, the space-rending fiend blade falcon knew that the purple-robed youth on its back was savage. It did not even have the strength to struggle. "I'm willing to be your mount." After a while, the space-rending blade falcon began to give in. It comforted itself that the purple-robed young man on its back must also be a demonic beast. As long as it did not become a human's mount, it would not be a disgrace to the space-rending blade falcon clan. "Little Tiger isn't here, so I'll let you be my mount for a few days. Make do with it." Du Xiaofu's fierce face instantly revealed a smile. The space-rending demonic blade falcon's bloodline wasn't weak, and its ranking on the heavenly beast list wasn't low either. However, compared to the current little tiger, it was naturally not enough. However, Du Xiaofu's words immediately made the space-rending fiend blade falcon vomit blood. It had gritted its teeth and submitted to become his mount. It had also thought that if there was a chance in the future, it would think of a way to escape. However, it did not expect this guy to think that it was barely qualified to become his mount. "Let's go and save some energy." After a while, Du Xiaofu sat on the space-rending demonic blade falcon and said to the purple flame demonic phoenix that had been quietly floating in the air not far away. Du Xiaofu had just obtained an extraordinary secret bone. It was probably much more precious than the secret bone of the Dragon Nine. He did not want to stay here for long. The purple flame demonic phoenix's purple eyes moved. The fluctuations were gorgeous, like purple fireworks. It did not say anything, but its graceful figure soon landed on the back of the space-rending demonic blade falcon. The pitiful space-rending demonic blade falcon had become a mount just like that. It was unwilling but unable to go crazy. Even though it was heavily injured, it still continued to fly. Who is that guy? He's too overbearing and cruel. The treasure of the Tiger Clan was obtained by that guy. As Du Xiaofu left, many demonic beasts in the surroundings had their eyes filled with fluctuations. No one dared to stop him. The space-rending demonic blade falcon had already become a mount. Their strength was inferior to the space-rending demonic blade falcon, so they could only watch as it left. After Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demonic phoenix left, an hour later, a strange tiger and a bearman arrived with many battle servants and demonic beasts. Their imposing manner was astonishing. "How dare you touch the relic of my tiger clan? Chase that brat. Don't let him go." The strange tiger roared in front of the huge tiger-shaped skeleton. Its eyes were filled with an ominous glint, causing one's heart to tremble. "Before you find Little Star, you better not cause any trouble for me. The dragons are here. Many of your enemies should also be in the heavenly beast tomb." The purple flame demonic phoenix said to Du Xiaofu on the back of the space-rending demonic blade falcon. "It's not the dragons. There's nothing to be afraid of. As long as they don't provoke me, there shouldn't be any other problems." Du Xiaofu pretended to be indifferent. In any case, the strength of the beast domain realm was suppressed to the half-domain realm. There was nothing to be afraid of. Of course, if they were outside the heavenly beast tomb, Du Xiaofu would be too embarrassed to say such words. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, the purple flame demonic phoenix didn't even look at Du Xiaofu. She was cold and seductive, otherworldly, and her purple dress fluttered in the wind. They don't even put the dragons in their eyes. Just where did they come from? The pitiful space-rending demonic blade falcon was scared out of its wits when it heard the two's conversation. "It's been so long, but I still don't know how to call you." Du Xiaofu looked at the beautiful figure in front of him and asked. He couldn't keep calling her "Hey Hey," even though they hadn't spoken much in the past few days. However, the purple flame demonic phoenix still ignored Du Xiaofu as if she didn't hear him. Du Xiaofu was a little irritated and didn't say anything else. "Coo-coo!" The space-rending demonic blade falcon roared from time to time, as if venting its unwillingness. Its voice pierced through the clouds, causing the demonic beasts along the way to not dare to approach. This made many demonic beasts curious. The space-rending demonic blade falcon, which had always been arrogant and fiery, had actually become a mount one day. "Little falcon, turn up ahead, there's treasure." Not long after, Du Xiaofu said to the space-rending demonic blade falcon, with the perception of his pulse soul, searching for treasures was much easier than searching for others. "I've lived for over 1,000 years. Why am I still called Little Falcon?" The space-rending demonic blade falcon was very unwilling. In any case, it was at the great circle of the beast sovereign realm. It could be considered somewhat famous in the beast region. It was already being looked down upon and barely qualified to be a mount, but now it was actually being called Little Falcon. However, the space-rending demonic blade falcon could only grumble in its heart. It didn't dare to say it out loud. It was really afraid that the savage, purple-robed youth would do something to it. It could only obediently turn around and think to itself, "Does the heavenly beast tomb belong to your family? How did you know there was a precious medicine there?" While the little falcon was grumbling in its heart, a vast canyon appeared ahead. There was a towering cliff with a waterfall pouring down. Roar! Rumble! There were quite a few ferocious birds and strange beasts all around, and they were already roaring like thunder. Each of them fought fiercely, and their goal was to fight over a stalk of spirit medicine at the highest point of the cliff. Unfortunately, No one was able to fight over it. Once anyone got too close, they would all attack together. Thus, the situation fell into a stalemate. The spiritual medicine at the top of the cliff was extremely large. It was at least 20 feet tall and was a dazzling purple peach tree. This dazzling purple peach tree was covered in runes and had a dozen or so blooming flowers. The fragrance of the flowers filled the air, making one feel relaxed and happy. The peach blossoms were the size of an adult's palm. They were sparkling and translucent pink in color. The stamens were like clusters of secret runes gathered together. The purple jade heaven spirit peach tree. It's actually a purple jade heaven spirit peach tree. It's actually blooming. I'm afraid it's about to bear fruit. Du Xiaofu looked from afar, but his eyes immediately shot out golden light. The purple jade heaven spirit peach tree was a precious medicine, an extremely rare, precious medicine. Just the leaves of the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree were a priceless spiritual medicine. It was said that consuming a single leaf of the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree could strengthen one's primordial spirit. If it was the fruit of the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree, it was said that a 9-star talisman master would treat it as a precious treasure. One could imagine what kind of treasure it was. It was a pity that the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree was too rare. It was said that there was only one Kyushu in total. It was an immeasurable sect of the central state and was regarded as a precious treasure of the immeasurable sect. Unfortunately, it was said that the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree in the immeasurable sect had never borne fruit. Even if the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree wanted to bear fruit, it would take thousands of years to bear fruit. It would also take thousands of years to bloom and bear fruit. It was so precious that it could only be found by chance. Little falcon, snatch it for me. The purple jade heaven spirit peach tree is mine. I'm going to transplant it back to bloom and bear fruit. Du Xiaofu shouted excitedly. His figure was like lightning. When he finished speaking, he had already rushed toward the cliff. Bandit! Looking at Du Xiaofu's back, the purple eyes of the purple flame demonic phoenix fluctuated. After a long time, she gently opened her mouth and said 2 words. The human in front of her could be considered to have some reputation outside, but he was more like a bandit. At this moment, the purple flame demonic phoenix couldn't help but feel a little regretful. If she had known that this guy was like this in private, she wouldn't have let him get close to little Xingxing. She didn't know what would happen to little Xingxing because of him. Therefore, in the depths of her heart, the purple flame demonic phoenix had even secretly decided that once she found little Xingxing this time, she would definitely not let little Xingxing stay by that bandit's side. Although fighting over treasures was all too common in the world of cultivators, the purple flame demonic phoenix could naturally understand that this was an ownerless item. However, for some reason, the purple flame demonic phoenix found this guy to be an eyesore. His natural bandit appearance made her unhappy. Chapter 1242. Bang, bang, bang. As Du Xiaofu rushed out, golden light burst out and swept directly toward the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree at the highest point of the cliff. Roar! The surrounding demonic beasts immediately discovered Du Xiaofu's figure. The demonic beasts that were entangled in a chaotic battle immediately burst out bright runes and roared as they pounced on Du Xiaofu. Naturally, they wouldn't let anyone get ahead of them and fish in troubled waters. Who dares to stop me? Du Xiaofu shouted loudly, and the golden light on his body became even brighter. The mysterious runes of the talismans flashed, and he forcefully charged forward with the strength of his physical body. He ignored all the attacks and swept in all directions as if he was in an unstoppable state. Bang, bang, bang. Those demonic beasts that attacked Du Xiaofu couldn't keep up with Du Xiaofu's speed. Instead, their attacks were chaotic and caused accidental injuries. They were also forcefully shaken off by Du Xiaofu's physical strength. A series of deep sonic booms resounded, and then huge demonic beasts fell from the sky, one after another. It was a tragic sight. No one could stop Du Xiaofu as he traversed the vast sky. He directly climbed to the top of the cliff with an unparalleled and domineering momentum. A few streaks of golden light swept out from his hand and directly intertwined with each other as they landed on the top of the cliff, shattering the cliff around the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree. "Rise!" Du Xiaofu shouted as the last claw print swept out. The golden light covered the ground and pulled out a piece of rocky land with a diameter of dozens of feet from the cliff. Rumble! Suddenly, the cliff trembled as a piece of land with a diameter of dozens of feet was pulled out by Du Xiaofu like a small island. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was like a giant cauldron as he held the island-like piece of land with one hand. The appearance of this scene was extremely shocking to the eyes, causing the surrounding demonic beasts that were caught off guard to be instantly dumbfounded. No demonic beast knew where the human-shaped young man came from. He was actually so domineering and powerful, with the spirit of pulling up mountains and rivers. So fierce. Little Falcon originally wanted to see a joke and find a chance to escape, so it didn't follow Du Xiaofu at all. However, after seeing the scene in a short time, looking at the purple-robed young man who had the power to pull up mountains and rivers, Little Falcon was secretly a little shocked. Collect! After pulling out the cliff and the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree, Du Xiaofu immediately called out the ancient desolate space and stored the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree into it. The purple jade heaven spirit peach tree itself was a precious treasure, but the most precious treasure after it bore fruit. At this moment, the heaven spirit peach tree had bloomed and was about to bear, so Du Xiaofu didn't want to let it go. Du Xiaofu's attainments in medicine and talisman master were definitely not low, but he knew that not every place could nourish such a precious treasure like the heaven spirit peach tree. If he wanted to transplant it somewhere else, it might not necessarily survive, so he simply moved the surrounding ground away. However, Du Xiaofu didn't expect that he would inadvertently cause such a scene, which made many demonic beasts dumbfounded. An ancient and boundless aura fluctuated and a misty light flashed. The heaven spirit peach tree was stored in Du Xiaofu's ancient desolate space and then disappeared between his eyebrows. "Boy, hand over the treasure!" Roar! Just as Du Xiaofu put away the ancient desolate space, a roar was heard and a terrifying aura suddenly spread out. A huge flood dragon, hundreds of feet long, appeared in the sky above the cliff. Its huge and long body stretched out in the sea of clouds, and its ferocious eyes looked down at Du Xiaofu ruthlessly and coldly. "You dare steal from me? Hand it over your granny's bear." Du Xiaofu was furious. To Du Xiaofu, anything that fell into his hands was already his. Now that the flood dragon wanted to fight, to Du Xiaofu, it was no different from trying to steal from him. Boom! Suddenly, Du Xiaofu stomped his foot on the ground, causing the cliff to rumble and tremble. Golden light burst out, and countless rocks poured down from the cliff, directly rushing towards the giant dragon. "You're courting death." The flood dragon was furious. It was a Xianming flood dragon, one of the kings of the beast region. It possessed the bloodline of dragons and was extremely powerful. The scales on its huge body immediately stood on end, and its aura surged. It exploded with a ferocious aura. Its body was huge, but it was as fast as lightning. Its huge tail whipped back, fiercely sweeping through the air towards Du Xiaofu. Rumble! Its huge tail exploded with resplendent light, like a huge pillar of lightning. It suddenly swept through the air, covering Du Xiaofu. Its huge tail slammed into the towering cliff below. The terrifying tail swept across, blasting apart the towering mountain peak. The waterfall was cut in half, and rocks were sent flying in torrents. The sound of explosions rang out incessantly. It was as fast as lightning, so fast that some of the demonic beasts cried out in alarm. They also sucked in a breath of cold air for the purple-robed youth. If the flood dragon's tail whipped him, his body would probably be smashed to pieces. A peak transcendent, Xianming, flood dragon. The little falcon's eyes trembled. That was a peak transcendent, Xianming, flood dragon, an expert from the beast region. It had encountered it before and was deeply afraid of it. Is that guy dead? The little falcon guessed that the purple-robed youth had suffered a calamity. The Xianming flood dragon was not to be trifled with. But while the little falcon was guessing, the waterfall that had been cut in half by the Xianming flood dragon's tail was restored. The water flowed down in a straight line, and a tall and straight figure was enveloped in golden light. Not a single drop of water could enter. Heavens! Suddenly, some of the demonic beasts cried out in alarm. They had seen the Xianming flood dragon's tail enter the crack in the cliff, but it didn't come out. Only now did they see clearly that not only was the purple-robed youth unharmed, but he was also holding the Xianming flood dragon's tail in place with a golden claw. Aowo! The Xianming flood dragon roared ferociously. It released a terrifying aura, and its eyes revealed a hint of fear. At this moment, the Xianming flood dragon discovered that no matter how it struggled, it was unable to break free from its tail. The tyrannical aura that was faintly emitted from the other party's body caused its Yuan spirit to involuntarily tremble. Unable to break free from its tail, the Xianming flood dragon could only twist its body around. Its ferocious mouth spewed out a ferocious aura as its roar shook the air. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it bit down at Du Xiaofu. It's just a stinking bug. Get down. Du Xiaofu stood on top of the broken waterfall and waved his claw that was holding the Xianming flood dragon's tail. He lifted the Xianming flood dragon's body and flung it down like a snake. It was incomparably tyrannical. Swish! The Xianming flood dragon, which was originally pouncing towards Du Xiaofu, was pitifully flung away. It was then flung down from the air by its tail. Bang! The flood dragon's head first landed in the valley below the cliff, causing the ground to shake and the rivers to break. Who told you to steal from me? Who told you to be arrogant? Who told you to provoke this emperor? Oh. Du Xiaofu let out several angry roars. Golden light erupted as he used his domineering aura to forcefully suppress the Xianming flood dragon. He held the Xianming flood dragon's tail and didn't let go. Like a little snake, he swung the Xianming flood dragon around 5 or 6 times in a row. Rumble! The valley below the cliff was completely broken. Everywhere was a mess. The cliff was on the verge of collapse. Finally, it completely collapsed. As for the pitiful Xianming flood dragon, it let out a series of miserable howls. By the time it landed, it was already on the verge of death. At this moment, the Xianming flood dragon's body was dripping with blood. Its scales were shattered, and in some places, flesh and bones could be seen. The Xianming flood dragon, a transcendent beast sovereign, a king of the beast region, was now like a child without a mother. It was trampled into a giant worm. Aho! The dying Xianming flood dragon was still roaring. It glared at Du Xiaofu and shouted, I don't care who you are. The Xianming flood dragon clan definitely won't let you off. Granny Bear, you dare threaten this emperor? Du Xiaofu was furious. He lifted the Xianming flood dragon's tail and fiercely swung it. Once again, the Xianming flood dragon was sent flying, blood gushing out of its mouth. Who told you to threaten me? Du Xiaofu appeared atop the Xianming flood dragon's sinister head. His domineering aura suppressed the Xianming flood dragon until it couldn't move. Then his golden fist landed on the top of the Xianming flood dragon's head. Bang! When the fist landed, the sinister head of the Xianming demon flood dragon was turned into meat paste. The Xianming flood dragon definitely had an impressive physical defense. But even so, it couldn't withstand Du Xiaofu's fist. The Xianming flood dragon's head was smashed into a bloody pulp. It couldn't be any more dead. All of this happened too suddenly. For a moment, the surroundings fell silent. Roar! After a short moment of silence, the surrounding demonic beasts roared, and the surrounding demonic beasts quietly retreated. Little Falcon, who was not far away, sucked in a breath of cold air. Its eyes were lifeless for a long time. Little Falcon never imagined that the purple-robed youth would be able to kill a peak transcendent level Xianming flood dragon with a single punch. This made Little Falcon think of itself. If it hadn't agreed to become his mount, its head would have been turned into a bloody pulp by now. Thinking of this, Little Falcon shuddered. It immediately regained its senses. At least it had managed to keep its life. Whoosh! After killing a transcendent level Xianming flood dragon, Du Xiaofu didn't stay idle. First, he collected the Xianming flood dragon's blood like it was a treasure. Now that the Xianming flood dragon was dead, its blood would soon solidify and lose its effect. As for the Xianming flood dragon's blood, it was the blood of a peak transcendent beast sovereign. Its value was self-evident. As a miser, Du Xiaofu treasured it greatly. Previously, everything in the Qiankuan bag was destroyed by the heavenly earth-shattering thunder. Although all the benefits went to him in the end, Du Xiaofu still felt heartache. Chapter 1243. Translator. H2DH2 Mr. After collecting the Xianming flood dragon's blood, Du Xiaofu continued digging up bones, extracting the dragon's tendons, and collecting scales. These were all treasures. None of the surrounding demonic beasts dared to approach. They could only watch in fear. More and more demonic beasts gathered. Some of the demonic beasts did not know what was going on and could only watch curiously. However, when they saw such a huge flood dragon being skinned alive, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. After tidying everything up, Du Xiaofu finally smiled as he gazed at the enormous Xianming demon dragon corpse in front of him and softly muttered, "Don't waste it. Eat it, it's a tonic." Du Xiaofu didn't want to waste the flood dragon's meat. The flesh of a transcendent Xianming flood dragon was comparable to extraordinary spiritual medicines. His golden rock technique could directly refine it and use it for his own benefit. Thus, Du Xiaofu directly cut off several large chunks of the flood dragon's meat and cleaned the bones. After washing them clean under the waterfall, he searched his body for a long time and finally found a medicinal cauldron. Stewing the flood dragon soup with ease, Du Xiaofu set it up on the barbecue table and prepared to roast the flood dragon's meat. The medicinal cauldron in Du Xiaofu's Qiankuan pouch had already been reduced to ashes by the earth-shattering thunder. This medicinal cauldron was something Du Xiaofu had found outside the beast region. He'd found it in quite a few Qiankuan pouches. Savage, too savage. Seeing Du Xiaofu not only skinned the Xianming flood dragon alive, but also prepared to roast its meat, the surrounding demonic beasts went from fear to terror. Some of them even began to flee, afraid that the purple-robed youth would take a fancy to their meat on a whim. The purple flame, demonic phoenix, had long since landed on a rock far away from the other demonic beasts. Its eyes were fixed on Du Xiaofu. Occasionally, there would be a ripple in its gaze before it returned to normal. Whoosh, whoosh! Suddenly, just as Du Xiaofu was about to start cooking the stew and roasting the meat, the sound of wind breaking suddenly came from the front, and a large number of extremely powerful auras came over. Roar. Amidst the sound of wind breaking, there were many low roars of beasts, and their auras were extremely powerful and shocking. The auras were so powerful that they seemed to want to freeze space. Wind and clouds immediately surged in half of the sky, and Du Xiaofu also raised his head and looked over. Thus, Du Xiaofu saw dozens of powerful demonic beasts floating in the air. Leading the pack was a strange tiger that was several feet in size, emitting a terrifying aura. There was also a towering, human-shaped giant bear. Its body was no different from a giant, but its head was that of a bear, and its aura was powerful. Beside the two leading demonic beasts, there were many demonic beasts and battle servants. Their auras were also very vigorous. None of them were weak. Any one of them, if placed on Kyushu, would be enough to cause the clouds to move. My bear paw and tiger bone stew. When Du Xiaofu saw the bearman and the strange tiger, his eyes widened and a sinister smile appeared on his face. Du Xiaofu had encountered these demonic beasts on his way here. When he happened to pass by, he happened to hear that the strange tiger and the bearman wanted to take him as a battle servant. When the strange tiger and the bearman appeared, their gazes swept over the surroundings. In the end, their gazes landed on Du Xiaofu, who was just about to start a fire to roast the meat. When they saw the skinless, scaled dragon's corpse, the strange tiger and the bearman's eyes were filled with confusion. They didn't know what had happened, but they didn't pay it much attention. It's the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King. When they saw the strange tiger and the bearman, many demonic beasts in the surroundings immediately cried out in alarm. Some demonic beasts were even more afraid of the strange tiger and the bearman than Du Xiaofu. The fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King were absolute giants of the beast region. Their names had shaken the entire beast region several hundred years ago. Although the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King had cultivated for over 1,000 years, according to the beast's cultivation timeline, they could still be considered young adults. However, they'd recently broken through from the transcendental sovereign level to the sovereign of origin level. Rumor had it that the fantasy Tiger King was a member of the Fire Tiger bloodline. It was one of the top existences in the Tiger clan, only slightly inferior to the White Tiger bloodline. When the fantasy Tiger King was young, it accidentally ate a mysterious heavenly treasure. In the end, it mutated and gained the ability to use soul attacks. Its name spread throughout the clan, and it was difficult to find a match among demonic beasts of the same level. In the beast region, its name spread far and wide, and it became a powerhouse. The violent Bear King wasn't bad either. His true form was the violent, earth-shattering bear, ranked near the top of the heavenly beast list. His bloodline was already very high. Rumor had it that he'd once received the legacy of an ancient bear expert and obtained the Bear clan's long-lost divine abilities. Among demonic beasts of the same level, he could dominate the world. It could be said that only the dragons, phoenixes, white tigers, black tortoises, and a few extremely rare, pure-blooded demonic beasts of the primordial era could cause the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King to fear them. As for demonic beasts of the beast region, even famous demonic beasts feared the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King. Not good. That's the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King. Little Falcon's eyes trembled. If it was afraid of the Xianming flood dragon, then it was absolutely terrified of the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King. For better or for worse, Little Falcon was one of the kings of the beast region. However, it knew that compared to the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King, it was nothing. The fantasy Tiger King and the savage Bear King were absolutely terrifying existences. Many of the Yao beasts following them were overlords of the beast region who weren't any weaker than them. Little Falcon couldn't help but worry for Du Xiaofu. However, it was also secretly delighted. The fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King had clearly come for that kid. If it could take care of him, it'd be free again. Let's do it. You've done me a huge favor. Thinking up to this point, Little Falcon couldn't help but feel a little excited. It hoped the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King would attack as soon as possible. Were you the one who took the bones of my Tiger clan's ancestor? The fantasy Tiger King stared at Du Xiaofu and bared its fangs. Its aura was terrifying. Now it's mine. Du Xiaofu looked up at the fantasy Tiger King and nodded. He knew these demonic beasts had come prepared. They'd come looking for him on purpose. Du Xiaofu secretly probed the two demonic beasts' auras. They'd probably just broken through to the Sovereign of Origin not long ago. The Sovereign of Origin's level of cultivation was already terrifying. However, it wasn't enough to make Du Xiaofu fear them. When the fantasy Tiger King heard Du Xiaofu's words, his tone short and sharp, and his gaze completely devoid of fear, a trace of astonishment flashed through its eyes. Glancing at the nearby space-rending blade falcon that was riddled with wounds, the Phantom Tiger King finally stared back at Du Xiaofu. Its voice was sharp and clear as it said, "Looks like you do have some strength. How about this? Hand over the secret bone and become my battle servant. Otherwise, your soul will be destroyed." You. Du Xiaofu looked up and pointed at the Fantasy Tiger King. Then he pointed at the Fantasy Tiger King and the Violent Bear King. He said indifferently, "And you. The two of you will follow me from now on and be my followers. Otherwise, I'll be eating tiger bone soup and bear paws today." Du Xiaofu's voice wasn't loud, but it reverberated far and wide. It was loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. As soon as Du Xiaofu's words came out, everyone was stunned. Many demonic beasts stared at Du Xiaofu, dumbfounded. They thought they'd heard wrong. Although the purple-robed youth had slaughtered the Xianming fiendish dragon, none of the demonic beasts present believed that the purple-robed youth still stood a chance against the Fantasy Tiger King and the Violent Bear King. However, he was still so bold and arrogant. This was clearly a provocation. "You want us to be your followers." The Violent Bear King stared straight at Du Xiaofu. His voice was so loud that it shook the space. He stared at Du Xiaofu with wide eyes, as if he thought he'd heard wrong. The Violent Bear King stared at Du Xiaofu with eyes that were like whirlpools filled with runes. He gave off a violent aura that could distort space for no reason. The Violent Bear King also had the aura of a king. Even if he just stood there quietly, he could make many demonic beasts tremble and submit to him. Not bad. The two of you are qualified to be my followers. Du Xiaofu looked up and nodded seriously. The two demonic beasts wanted to make him their battle servant. Now that they'd come looking for trouble, he couldn't let them go. Chapter 1244. Hearing Du Xiaofu's serious words and expression, the Spiritual Illusion Tiger King and the Violent Bear King were stunned. Haha, what an ignorant and insignificant human. However, the Spiritual Illusion Tiger King laughed loudly after an instant. His laughter shook the air, and strange runes flickered in his tiger eyes. The Spiritual Illusion Tiger King's loud laughter sounded like a tiger's roar, causing many demonic beasts in the vicinity to be frightened. As the laughter reverberated, their hearts trembled violently, as if their souls were about to explode. "All of you go. Let that ignorant brat know where he is." The Spiritual Illusion Tiger King said to the many battle servants beside him. His tiger eyes were sinister, and his aura was terrifying. "All of you go as well." The Violent Bear King waved his hand and gestured to the battle servants beside him. His aura surged, and he had the aura and majesty of a monster king. He looked very powerful. Whoosh, whoosh. Following the Spiritual Illusion Tiger King and the Violent Bear King's signal, a total of 16 battle servants flew out. The 16 auras were powerful, and they were all human experts. The youngest of the 16 battle servants looked to be in their 20s, while the oldest looked to be in their 40s. However, it was difficult to know how long they had cultivated. After a cultivator became a martial honorable or an 8-star talisman master, there would not be many changes to their appearance, unless they were cultivators who did not care about their appearance at all. For cultivators in the world of cultivation, the strong were respected, and the weak were prey to the strong. Not many people cared about their appearance. Therefore, it was difficult to determine a cultivator's true age based on their appearance. However, they were all cultivators, and the stronger ones could roughly determine a cultivator's age based on their aura. At that moment, the 16 battle servants surrounding Du Xiaofu were all martial honorables, and the 4 strongest among them were extraordinary martial honorables. It could be said that these 16 battle servants alone were enough to form a powerful force in Kyushu. It was enough to show how powerful the Spiritual Illusion Tiger King and the Violent Bear King were. "Brat, surrender!" A transcendent, martial, venerable battle servant, who looked to be in his 40s, pointed his spear at Du Xiaofu. His aura was sharp and arrogant, and he did not put Du Xiaofu in his eyes at all. Du Xiaofu raised his eyes slightly and glanced at the 16 battle servants in the surroundings who had vaguely trapped him. In the end, he looked directly at the spear-wielding battle servant leader. His face was cold and indifferent as he said, "Seeing that we're all humans, I'll give you a chance. Piss off. It's your business if you want to be battle servants. But if you provoke me, I don't mind destroying you." His voice wasn't loud, but it carried a ghastly coldness as it reverberated through the air. It was filled with an inexplicable sense of dominance. However, this sort of domineering and fierce feeling didn't feel the same when it entered the ears of the 16 battle servants. It immediately caused complicated expressions to appear on their faces, and then they became fierce and cold. Although they were battle servants, the battle servants of the spiritual illusion Tiger King and the violent Bear King were all extraordinary people, so they naturally had their own pride. They had the support of the spiritual illusion Tiger King and the violent Bear King's cultivation resources, so they did not take their peers seriously. After a few years, they would be able to leave and return to Kyushu, where they would sweep through everything and dominate the region. This was why they were willing to become battle servants. At this moment, facing the purple-robed young man's domineering and fierce manner, the pride in the hearts of these battle servants could not be provoked. After becoming battle servants, the thing they could not accept the most was the provocation and disregard of another human. It would provoke them for no reason. "Brat, you're courting death." The leading transcendent Martial Venerable was infuriated. His eyes shone with cold light as his face was filled with a ghastly expression, causing the surrounding temperature to plummet. Boom! When the ghastly words left his mouth, the spear in his hand trembled. Runes suddenly erupted, and a might that could tear through space shot out. The battle servant's figure shot through the air like lightning. He did not hold back his transcendent, martial, venerable aura at all. His spear was like a resplendent bolt of lightning as it swooped down from the sky. Everywhere it passed, space distorted, and faint traces of cracks appeared. In an instant, it directly pressed down on Du Xiaofu with an unparalleled might. The terrifying aura shook the surroundings. Just the might of the spear, which carried a faint demonic roar, was enough to shake one's soul. Without a doubt, the battle servant wanted to deal with the violet-robed young man in one move. He wanted to establish his might and prove his identity and strength as the #1 battle servant of the spiritual illusion Tiger King. Chila! A terrifying might erupted, and resplendent energy runes covered the sky and earth. Everything happened in an instant, under the gazes of many people. The transcendent, martial, venerable battle servant's resplendent spear was like a bolt of lightning as it pointed at the violet-robed young man's forehead. The spiritual illusion Tiger King and the ferocious Bear King were also watching this scene with interest. There was a faint smile in their eyes. Not far away, Little Falcon's eyes narrowed. Its expression was a little complicated, but more than that, it only wanted to escape. Moreover, Little Falcon seemed to have heard that the violet-robed young man was really a human. All the more it could not become a human's mount. Only the purple-flame demonic phoenix, who was standing quietly in the distance, did not even take a second look. Chila! The spear was pointed straight at Du Xiaofu. A pitch-black light appeared in the space before the tip of the spear. It tore through space and was already close to Du Xiaofu's forehead. At this moment, many people could not help but gasp for Du Xiaofu. However, at this moment, all the demonic beasts raised their eyebrows slightly. Their pupils could not help but constrict as if they had seen the most unbelievable thing. Right at this moment, everyone noticed to their astonishment that for some unknown reason, the tip of the spear that flashed before the violet-robed young man's forehead had suddenly frozen on the spot. It was like even time and space had stopped, and it was unable to advance another inch. However, the violet-robed young man did not move at all. Even his robes did not flutter in the slightest. The violet-robed young man stood proudly on the ground like a boulder. How domineering and disdainful! Soon after, the purple-robed young man moved. He waved his arm and raised his hand. His expression was indifferent. Although he appeared to be moving slowly, he was actually as fast as lightning. His hand gently extended from within his purple long sleeves, after which it gently landed on the handle of the spear behind the tip of the spear, which was emitting resplendent symbols. He gently held it. It's a pretty good weapon. However, the person using it is a little too weak. Let's bury it. Du Xiaofu spoke. Suddenly, a golden light shot out from his eyes. Golden light also surged out from the palm that held the spear handle. Like an electric current, it suddenly spread across the spear and suppressed the terrifying aura and resplendent runes that had exploded from the spear. Not good. At this moment, the transcendent, martial, honorable battle servant seemed to have sensed something. His expression changed drastically, and it was as if he had fallen from heaven to hell. Then, under the astonishment of the transcendent, martial, honorable battle servant, the elementary grade weapon in his hand, which was a precious treasure given to him by the spiritual fantasy Tiger King, was forcefully taken away by the other party. He was powerless to control or stop all of this. The spear in his hand had directly landed in the other party's hand. It was as if he had lost contact with it. Not good. Quickly attack together. The expressions of the remaining 15 battle servants changed drastically. The 3 transcendent, martial, honorable battle servants, who were also the leaders, shouted loudly. In an instant, they all rushed out together. Their auras exploded as they activated their martial techniques and weapons. 15 terrifying attacks shot towards Du Xiaofu like lightning. Among them, the attacks of the other 3 transcendent, martial, honorable battle servants were able to distort the void, shake the mountains and rivers, and cause lightning to flash and thunder to rumble in the sky. The wind and clouds changed color. They were powerful and terrifying. The 15 figures rushed down to attack like 15 thunderbolts falling from the sky. The terrifying, resplendent runes flickered and dazzled the eyes. Their auras exploded in the air, causing one's heart to tremble in fear. Bang! Du Xiaofu grabbed the spear with his right hand. Suddenly, strange runes flickered in his eyes. At the same time, his left fist, which was covered in golden light, shot up into the sky like a ghost. It landed directly on the chest of the transcendent, martial, honorable battle servant who was holding the spear, who was unable to react in time. At this moment, for some unknown reason, the former's eyes were lifeless. Then, under the punch, golden light poured into his body, and his body exploded into a bloody mist. Kill! Du Xiaofu raised his head and shouted angrily. When the former's body exploded into a bloody mist, Du Xiaofu stomped his foot and rose from the ground. The golden light behind him exploded like the rising sun. A pair of golden wings spread out, and he soared into the sky. Chapter 1245. At this moment, a terrifying aura suddenly swept out from Du Xiaofu's body. The golden light in his eyes was like 2 golden thunderbolts that shot into the sky. A terrifying aura swept out from his body, causing the entire hall to shake violently. The golden wings on his back shone brilliantly like a rock spreading its wings, shaking the 9 heavens. Boom! A shocking, muffled sound of energy reverberated through the canyon like thunder. The golden wings on Du Xiaofu's back flapped open, and the air current whizzed out with a terrifying aura. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was like a real golden-winged rock descending, carrying the domineering will of the golden-winged rock race. Bang, bang, bang! A terrifying golden light burst forth, and the domineering energy was like a suppressed volcano erupting into the sky. It was like the rising sun, endless and dazzling the entire area. Under the impact of the golden-winged rock's aura, the attacks of the 16 battle servants that were diving down were instantly drowned and shattered. Bang, bang, bang! Then, as the 16 battle servants swooped down, their pupils suddenly constricted and fear appeared in their eyes. Then, starting from the weaker ones, their bodies exploded one after another. Under the golden-winged rock's aura, The 16 battle servants did not even have the ability to resist. Even their transcendent martial venerables' cultivation was not enough. Flapping his wings, Du Xiaofu's body proudly stepped into the sky. Below him, a bloody mist poured down and golden light filled the sky, illuminating it as if the sun had descended. Roar! Under this terrifying aura, all the ferocious birds and beasts in the surroundings felt such a terrifying and domineering aura that came from their souls and bloodlines. All of them screamed and roared, and their bodies prostrated themselves. What a powerful aura! How can this be a human? This is the aura of the golden-winged roc, a supreme existence. The little falcon, who was originally waiting to reap the benefits, was now filled with horror, and its body could not help but tremble and prostrate. As a bird, it was even more difficult to resist the golden-winged roc's aura. Golden rays of light overflowed and lingered around Du Xiaofu's body like ribbons. They were profound and beautiful. The golden pung wings on his back expanded slightly, emitting the aura of a supreme being. Du Xiaofu's eyes flashed with golden lightning as he stared at the phantom Tiger King and the violent Bear King. He exuded a supreme aura like a human-shaped, golden-winged roc. You, Big Cat and Bear, have angered me. At this moment, the spiritual Tiger King and the violent Bear King were still dumbfounded and had yet to recover from their shock. 16 powerful battle servants were actually killed just like that. It was simply as easy as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood, sweeping through everything. This made them tremble with fear. Upon hearing Du Xiaofu's shout, the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King regained their senses. That seems to be the aura of the golden-winged great rocs. Looking at the purple-robed young man who was releasing the pressure of a supreme being, the illusion Tiger King's heart trembled. That aura was too powerful. That fellow's strength was actually so terrifying. But that brat seems to be human. The violent Bear King was puzzled. He was a venerable origin beast and was no weakling. Although he was shocked, he was also puzzled. I understand now. It's the golden pung wings. That brat stole the wings of the golden-winged great rocs from who knows where, and even fused them together. If the golden-winged great rocs find out, they definitely won't let that brat off. The fantasy Tiger King stared closely at the golden pung wings on Du Xiaofu's back. Sensing Du Xiaofu's aura, he more or less understood what was going on. The golden-winged great rocs were extremely domineering. They were a supreme beast race. Although the Chilants, dragons, and phoenixes were said to be the supreme beasts of the beast race, it was rumored that the golden-winged great rocs had existed long before the tribulations of the three races. There were also many ancient beast races that hadn't participated in the tribulations of the three races. They had been passed down since ancient times, but their numbers were extremely small. As for the golden-winged great rocs, how could they possibly allow a puny human to obtain their wings? So that's how it is. If we capture that brat and hand him over to the golden-winged great rocs, we might be able to benefit from it. The violent Bear King said to the fantasy Tiger King. The golden-winged great rocs had never been active in the beast region, so it was difficult for any other race to establish a relationship with them. However, no one in the beast region doubted the golden-winged great rocs' power or their status as the supreme Yao beast race. If anyone could establish a relationship with a golden-winged great rocs, they could easily imagine the benefits. In the future, they might even be able to do as they pleased in the beast region. The fantasy Tiger King glanced at the violent Bear King and immediately understood. The purple-robed human before them had a pair of golden pung wings. If they handed him over to the golden-winged great rocs, they'd be able to obtain benefits and establish a relationship with them. However, the fantasy Tiger King frowned inwardly. That brat's cultivation wasn't weak. He definitely wouldn't be easy to deal with. Brat, you killed my battle servant. You're dead meat. But at that moment, the violent Bear King was the first to roar. He strode forward, his berserk aura erupting from him, causing the surrounding space to tremble. The sovereign of origin. Rumor has it that the violent Bear King obtained the ancient Bear King's violent strength, divine ability, its boundless strength and impenetrable defense. Little Falcon's eyes trembled when he saw the violent Bear King's instantaneous attack. Boom! As expected, the wild Bear King used his full strength right from the start. The Origin Beast Sovereign's aura poured out without holding back at all. His body was wrapped in resplendent runes, making him look like a giant. His fist was like a meteor, exploding through space and suddenly slamming towards Du Xiaofu. The violent Bear King's attack was incomparably ferocious. It definitely wasn't something the previous, transcendent, martial sovereign battle servants could compare to. They weren't even on the same level. As Yao beasts, their true strength was much greater than that of human cultivators. The violent Bear King was definitely one of the top Yao beasts of the same level as Yao beasts. Hence, when the violent Bear King attacked, the Sovereign of Origin's cultivation level was comparable to that of a human cultivator at the peak of perfect, martial, venerable. In addition to the violent Bear King's powerful physical body and divine ability, it was probably enough to face off against a nirvana, martial, venerable. The violent Bear King attacked, his fist distorting the void. The terrifying aura before his fist crushed the void, causing deep sonic booms. It was actually violent and domineering. Facing Du Xiaofu, who was not a true golden-winged rock, but a human, the violent Bear King immediately despised him from the bottom of his heart. He wanted to use his violent strength and powerful physical body to suppress the human with one punch. He wanted to crush him with an unstoppable force. However, the violent Bear King didn't know who it was facing right now. Facing the violent Bear King's punch, Du Xiaofu wasn't afraid at all. Instead of retreating, Du Xiaofu suddenly raised his arm. His fist wasn't wrapped in golden light but purple lightning. It surged violently, ferociously, and accurately. It directly collided with the violent Bear King's huge fist. Boom! Instantly, rune lightning was released and shot in all directions. Roar! However, at the same time, some of the demonic beasts thought that the purple-robed young man would be blown away by the violent Bear King's punch. However, when they saw the violent Bear King, they let out a miserable cry and retracted their fists as if they were shocked by lightning. However, it was too late. The violent Bear King's fist had been charred black by the lightning. The most serious part was that the back of the bear's paw was cracked and blood was flowing out. It was in excruciating pain, and its huge body was spinning in the air. It was miserable. This scene made everyone's jaws drop. Everyone knew how strong the violent Bear King's body was, but no one had expected the violent Bear King to be beaten up like this. However, some Yao beasts could understand it after seeing the Xianming demonic dragon, which was a peak transcendent beast venerable, being beaten up so miserably. Du Xiaofu sneered maliciously after his successful attack. Taking advantage of his opponent's weakness had always been Du Xiaofu's style. With a flap of his wings, Du Xiaofu instantly appeared in front of the violent Bear King like a ghost. Xiaoyang seal. Golden light burst out. It was extremely domineering like the sun, and it instantly engulfed the violent Bear King's chest, who was caught off guard. Bang! When the deep sonic boom resounded, the violent Bear King spat out a mouthful of blood. Its body immediately fell from the sky and landed heavily in the broken valley below. The earth shook, the mountain shook, and the ground cracked. Gravel shot out. Chapter 1246. All the Yao beasts were dumbfounded. Even the little falcon's eyes twitched. The spiritual Tiger King had long since rushed over, but when it saw what had happened to the violent Bear King, its eyes trembled. The spiritual Tiger King didn't think that it was that much stronger than the violent Bear King. Moreover, even with the violent Bear King's powerful defense, it had been ravaged to such an extent. One could only imagine how terrifying the purple-robed human youth was. Not good. The fantasy Tiger King cursed inwardly. Then it turned around and fled. Du Xiaofu had already intimidated it. Big cat, you still want to leave? Du Xiaofu had his eyes on the spiritual Tiger King from the start. How could he let it leave? He immediately pounced on the spiritual Tiger King, his powerful aura suppressing and sealing the space. "Humph, you really think you can deal with me?" The spiritual Tiger King roared at the same time, its eyes glaring. Runes erupted from its body, and it instantly transformed into a terrifying tiger nearly 10,000 feet long. Demonic fire protection, spiritual killing eyes. The spiritual Tiger King's body glowed as it activated its demonic fire. In the end, it turned into a strange, terrifying demonic fire that enveloped its body. At the same time, the spiritual Tiger King's eyes rippled with strange runes. They were like two black holes that wanted to devour a person's yuan spirit. It was a terrifying sight. Roar! The spirit fantasy Tiger King was attacking with all the power he could muster. Demonic flames sprang up around him, causing the air to distort and distort. Down below, the demonic beast's skin burned, and its eyes flickered with strange light. At the same time, its tiger claws ripped through the air as it pounced toward Du Xiaofu, filled with the might of a Tiger King. "You want to play with Yuan spirit attacks in front of me? Fine, I'll play with you. Profound Soul Eye." Du Xiaofu shouted, and the strange runes in his eyes shot out. His aura caused the hearts of those who saw it to tremble. They contained a silver-yellow lightning that was domineering and destructive, striking fear into the hearts of those who saw them. They directly repelled the illusion Tiger King's strange gaze, causing it to be affected instead. At the same time, Du Xiaofu pushed out a silver-white palm print that was as bright as the moon and collided with the tiger claw. Lunar Seal. Du Xiaofu's resplendent, silvery-white energy palm print, along with a nearly materialized silvery-white violent energy of the world, was suffused with a strange silvery-white rune, as though it was shrouded in layers of silvery-white lightning. With a lightning-like speed, it instantly collided with the huge tiger claw, like a sandstone colliding with a meteorite. This collision caused an explosion that shook the heavens and earth to resound from the point of impact. Rumble! Such a collision caused the surrounding space to collapse, and a low, rumbling sound reverberated without end. The ground below was shaken to the point that it was like an earthquake. Roar! Then everyone watched in shock as the illusion Tiger King let out a pained cry. Its tiger claw retracted as if it had been electrocuted. Blood dripped from the tiger's claw. The indestructible tiger claw was actually drenched in blood, and the huge tiger's body was sent flying backwards. Stormy Wave Palm. Du Xiaofu charged out again, his entire body enveloped in golden light. He spread his wings and swooped down like a great rock, bringing with it the sound of wind and thunder as he struck out with his palm. In an instant, the earth-shattering celestial chi energy in front of this palm seemed to cause a raging wave to appear in the air. It swept over the illusion Tiger King's body, drowning it within. With Du Xiaofu's current cultivation, using the stormy wave palm felt completely different. Its power was like the difference between heaven and earth. Under such a terrifying attack, the illusion Tiger King didn't even have time to react before it was swept away by Du Xiaofu's ferocious attack. Golden runes and celestial chi waves blasted the illusion Tiger King to the ground. Its huge tiger body coughed up blood as it fell, causing the ground to shake. Roar! The raging bear king roared furiously, its aura soaring to the heavens. The raging bear king, who had just fallen to the ground, climbed to its feet. At this moment, the runes exploded, and its body rose from the ground, transforming into its original body that was dozens of feet tall. It was like a giant between heaven and earth, its muscles bulging like giant pythons coiling around its body. This was the raging bear king's original body, the berserk, earth-shattering bear. Its aura was terrifying, and it was one of the top beasts on the heavenly beast list. Moreover, the raging bear king was a top genius of the berserk, earth-shattering bear clan. It had obtained the ancient bear king's berserk strength, which gave it boundless strength and indestructible defense. Bastard, I'm going to tear you apart alive. The raging bear king was enraged. When had it ever been trampled on like this? This was a humiliation to it. It immediately unleashed its might, runes exploding as it activated its berserk strength. Divine power surged, and its huge bare paw was like a heavenly pillar. A terrifying shockwave erupted from its body, and the runes turned into a tide, sweeping up hundreds of spatial ripples as it furiously slapped Du Xiaofu. At this moment, the raging Bear King was going all out, activating its berserk strength. Under this furious slap and its huge paw, even an ordinary peak chaotic element martial venerable would spit out blood if they didn't die. This emperor wants to eat bear paws today. Du Xiaofu roared and did not retreat. His hand seals quickly condensed, and a vigorous and surging aura suddenly soared into the sky. He directly punched out, and at this moment he was using the tyrannical fist way. Roar! This punch had the roar of a dragon and the cry of a divine elephant. It was accompanied by lightning and thunder in the sky, and the void in front of the punch exploded. This punch was also Du Xiaofu's ultimate physical strength. Its aura was incomparably domineering, and it looked down on everything. The seemingly small punch collided with the huge tiger's paw. Immediately, the terrifying rune ripples swept through the void like a tsunami, causing the entire void to shake violently. Rumble! A formless, domineering aura shook the void, and it was as if thunder was rumbling between heaven and earth. Monstrous energy instantly erupted. Roar! The raging Bear King's huge body was then forced back. With every step it took, its huge paw would land on the ground and shatter the ground, causing it to cry out in pain again. At this moment, the raging Bear King's huge paw was already cracked, and blood was pouring out. Du Xiaofu's punch had shattered the thick paw, and it was dripping with blood. Even the bones were almost exposed. You're quite good at taking a beating. Du Xiaofu was rather surprised. He was well aware of his current strength. With the strength of his physical body, he could activate the tyrannical fist path and utilize the extreme strength of his physical body. This was enough to kill a peak primordial chaos martial venerable. However, he had only managed to slightly injure the berserk, earth-shattering bear. The raging, earth-shattering Bear King seemed to be dripping with blood, but Du Xiaofu knew in his heart that the injury was not too serious. Continue, Du Xiaofu yelled. Then his eyes lit up as he saw a towering tree on the cliff below. It was at least 100 feet tall, and it would take dozens of people to wrap their arms around it. Immediately, Du Xiaofu's figure flashed down. His hands were covered in golden light, and his 5 fingers curled into the giant tree. Runes enveloped the giant tree, and an overbearing aura erupted. Amidst the rumbling of the cliff, the giant tree was uprooted. With the strength to uproot mountains and rivers, he lifted the giant tree high up and threw it at the raging Bear King. Boom! The pitiful raging Bear King was smashed by the giant tree before it could stop its decline. Its huge body was hit and fell to the ground. Run! At this moment, the spiritual Tiger King, who had just gotten up, did not hesitate at all. As soon as it got up, it wanted to escape. It did not dare to stay any longer. This human was too cruel. Big Cat, where do you think you're going? How could Du Xiaofu let the spiritual Tiger King go so easily? The wings on his back flapped, and his figure fluttered like a god. Golden runes spread out, and he soared into the sky like a real, golden-winged rock. His speed was much faster than the spiritual Tiger King's. Come back! As fast as lightning, like a golden rainbow, Du Xiaofu pounced forward and grabbed the spiritual Tiger King's tail, which was as thick as a bowl in his hand. The spiritual Tiger King's huge body stopped in midair. Roar! The spiritual Tiger King was shocked. It roared like thunder, and runes burst out. The Origin Beast Sovereign's aura erupted like a tornado, trying to break free from Du Xiaofu's grip and escape. Where are you going? Behave! Du Xiaofu roared. Golden light burst out, and the rock wings on his back flapped. Violent lightning surged out of his palm and poured down on the spiritual Tiger King's body. Crackle! The power of thunder and lightning poured out in torrents. Under the great, violent aura, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the sky. The rumbling sound of thunder lingered in the ears, shaking the souls of those who heard it. At this moment, the spiritual Tiger King was in a pitiful state. Under the close contact of the violent lightning, the spiritual Tiger King's entire body trembled. The spiritual Tiger King's defense could not withstand Du Xiaofu's lightning at all. Its hair stood on end, and its body trembled like a hedgehog. It screamed in pain, and its voice trembled. "Come back!" Du Xiaofu roared again. The rock spread its wings, and a terrifying power burst out. At the same time, he stomped on the air and the space shook. Like a supreme demon king, he leaned back slightly and pulled the spiritual Tiger King's tail, throwing it over his shoulder. In that instant, Du Xiaofu had actually flung the spiritual fantasy Tiger King's enormous body in a crescent arc through the air, directly flinging it behind him. Wah! Seeing this, the eyes of the surrounding demonic beasts widened, and they all cried out in shock. They could not close their mouths for a long time. At this moment, the wild bear king behind him had just crawled up again. Before it could react, a huge object fell from the sky like a meteor. It erupted with runes and descended from the sky. It was the phantom Tiger King's body. Du Xiaofu had grabbed it by its tail and thrown it over his shoulder, throwing it directly towards the wild bear king. Du Xiaofu had done this on purpose. Bang, bang! Two loud sounds rang out, and the runes shattered. The poor spiritual bear king had just gotten up when it was smashed for the third time. The two huge demonic beasts overlapped, and the ground shook. Roar! The two demonic beasts spat out blood from their mouths. They were dizzy from the impact, and their bodies were in extreme pain. Chapter 1247. Bloodthirsty Demon King. Rock descends to the 9 heavens. Du Xiaofu's golden rock wings spread out behind him. Dazzling golden light shone as he landed on the spiritual Tiger King's body. His domineering power crushed the spiritual Tiger King and the violent Bear King's bodies. Roar! A terrifying aura swept out, carrying the domineering will of the golden rock. The surrounding beasts screamed and fell to the ground. The bloodline and primordial spirits all trembled under the immense pressure. Roar! The spiritual Tiger King and the violent Bear King roared at the same time, struggling with all their might to break free from Du Xiaofu's suppression. Behave yourselves, Du Xiaofu shouted. As he activated the rock descends to the 9 heavens, purple lightning surged out of his body, surging onto the spiritual Tiger King and the violent Bear King's body. As a result, Du Xiaofu's fist, which was wrapped in purple lightning runes, also carried a great amount of violent power as it rained down like a storm. Bang, bang, bang. The dull sounds were like thunder. Dark clouds gathered under the power of lightning. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Du Xiaofu's fists rained down on the spiritual fantasy Tiger King's back like a thunderstorm. The thunderbolts didn't forget about the spiritual fantasy Tiger King either and continued to bombard it. Roar! The pitiful spiritual Tiger King and the violent Bear King roared miserably. Even though their bodies were tough, they couldn't withstand Du Xiaofu's violent attacks. After a few blows, the two beasts' defenses were completely destroyed by Du Xiaofu. Their flesh was torn open and blood flowed everywhere. It was a tragic sight. Aft! With each punch of Du Xiaofu's landing, a piece of flesh and blood was sent flying. The pitiful violent Bear King and spiritual Tiger King's auras grew weaker and weaker until they were completely exhausted. All the surrounding Yao beasts stared with wide, ferocious eyes. Aside from the surging winds and roaring thunder, there was no other sound. Even space seemed to freeze. Little Falcon was already in a daze as he stared at the scene before him in shock. The purple-robed young man's fists rained down like rain as he pummeled the illusion Tiger King and the violent Bear King. How shocking was that? The purple flame demonic phoenix looked at the scene in front of her from afar. There were some ripples in her beautiful purple eyes. Now, do you want to be my Yao Beast King? Du Xiaofu Dragon King, Du Xiaofu asked. The spiritual Tiger King and Violent Bear King were already on the verge of death. Their last breath, they were extremely withered. At this moment, even if Du Xiaofu released them, they would no longer be able to fight. Kid, you dream! The Fantasy Tiger King and the Violent Bear King said in unison. They were famous kings of the Beast region. How could they possibly lower themselves to become a human's lackey? It was as if he was their battle servant. Their prideful bloodlines and arrogance wouldn't allow them to do so. You don't want to? Then I'll just kill you. As soon as Du Xiaofu Dragon King spoke, he threw another 2 punches. Blood sprayed from the spiritual Tiger King and Violent Bear King's bodies. They howled in pain once more. Kid, this is the Beast region. If you dare touch us, you won't be able to leave the Beast region. All the experts of the Beast region will grind your bones to dust. The spiritual Tiger King howled in anger. It seemed he had something to rely on. This was the Beast region. Putting aside the fact that he and the Violent Bear King had the tigers and bears behind them, if that human youth really dared to kill them, then even the experts of the entire Beast region wouldn't let him off the hook. It was just like in Kyushu. If a Yao expert from the Beast region charged into Kyushu's territory and killed a representative of Kyushu, then even the experts of the other factions would surround and annihilate him. After all, this concerned the dignity of both races. It would incur the wrath of the masses. If a human killed 2 Beast Kings in the Beast region and left without a second thought, the entire Beast region would lose face. If a Yao expert killed a human expert in Kyushu and left, then the Kyushu would lose face. You dare threaten me? However, Du Xiaofu was never one to be threatened. When he saw that the Illusion Tiger King still dared to threaten him, he immediately sent out a few more punches, causing the Illusion Tiger King and Violent Bear King to roar and cry out in pain. They were already on the verge of death. Swoosh, swoosh. After another barrage of punches, Du Xiaofu formed hand seals. Several hand seals landed on the Phantom Tiger King and the Violent Bear King's enormous bodies, trapping them. As the seals fell, the spiritual Tiger King and Violent Bear King's enormous bodies shrank down to only a few dozen feet tall. That was their normal size. It's a bit of a waste to kill you like this. I can't bear to do that. Du Xiaofu stood in front of the 2 beasts, a serious smile on his face. Then, under the gazes of the countless frozen Yao beasts, Du Xiaofu pulled out a sharp scimitar out of nowhere and sent several beams of light towards them. Roar, roar. When the beams of light landed, the restrained Violent Bear King and Spiritual Tiger King suddenly let out pained roars that pierced the heavens and shook heaven and earth. Their mournful agony filled the air. All the Yao beasts were shocked. The pitiful Violent Bear King's paw had 12 pounds of meat shaved off. The Spiritual Tiger King was even more miserable. No less than 15 pounds of meat on its buttocks had been cut off by Du Xiaofu without hesitation. Du Xiaofu didn't let go of the bear blood and tiger blood. He summoned another cauldron and collected a large amount of the bear and tiger blood into the cauldron. The cauldron was filled to the brim with runes, and the blood was filled with violent energy. This is a great tonic. Don't waste it. Du Xiaofu raised the cauldron and gulped down the bear and tiger blood. Gurgling sounds came from his throat, and after a while he finished the 2 cauldrons of blood without leaving a single drop behind. With his mouth full of blood and runes flickering in his throat, Du Xiaofu licked the corner of his mouth, as if he hadn't had enough yet. He looked like a real demon king for no reason. Oh my God, that's too cruel. Is that guy a human or a Yao beast? He's a bloodthirsty demon king. Countless Yao beasts couldn't help but tremble when they saw the scene. Their hair stood on end. That purple-robed youth was too cruel. He was even crueler than the most brutal Yao beasts. Du Xiaofu wiped the traces of blood from the corner of his mouth. He did not pay any attention to the wild Bear King and Fantasy Tiger King, who were both sealed. after which he carried several kilograms of bear paw meat and several dozen kilograms of tiger rump meat. After washing them clean under a nearby waterfall, he threw half of them into the medicinal cauldron that was originally stewing the mysterious nether demon dragon. Du Xiaofu had been in control of the battle. He had even set up a seal to prevent the Xianming demon flood dragon's meat and the barbecue table from being destroyed. It was a pity that the bottles that Du Xiaofu used to barbecue meat had been destroyed by the great earth thunder. However, Du Xiaofu had reached the level of a foodie. After fiddling around, he found some strange bottles and jars. Some of them even contained some tasty elixirs. Thus, while he was cooking, Du Xiaofu was also barbecuing the wild earth bear paw meat, the spiritual tiger but meat, and the Xianming demon flood dragon meat. Cruel, too cruel. Demon King, that's the bloodthirsty Demon King. Seeing the purple-robed youth drinking the wild earth bear king and the spiritual tiger king's blood and barbecuing the Xianming demon flood dragon, the wild earth bear king and the spiritual tiger king's meat left everyone dumbfounded. Some of the Yao beasts retreated as their hair stood on end. The purple-robed youth's cruelty left all the Yao beasts with lingering fear. Some of the more cowardly Yao beasts turned around and left. They didn't want to watch the show, lest they get caught up in it. Some of the beast kings that had followed the wild earth bear king and the spiritual tiger king also retreated in fear. They couldn't leave. After all, the wild earth bear king and the spiritual tiger king weren't dead yet. If the wild earth bear king and the spiritual tiger king escaped, they would definitely be targeted. However, if they didn't leave, the Yao beasts were afraid that the purple-robed youth would be the first to find trouble with them. After a while, the pot of soup was filled with a fragrant aroma. Light flowed everywhere and energy rippled. The aroma of barbecued meat filled the air, and oil splattered everywhere. The aroma spread for 10 miles, whetting everyone's appetite. Do you want to eat some? It tastes good, and it's also very nutritious. After the soup and barbecued meat were ready, Du Xiaofu looked at the purple flame demonic phoenix standing quietly in the distance and asked. Du Xiaofu guessed that with the purple flame demonic phoenix's cold and demonic temperament, it probably wouldn't bother to pay attention to him. Anyway, he asked later. Chapter 1248. However, Du Xiaofu did not expect the purple flame demonic phoenix to nod and say, "It looks pretty good." The purple flame demonic phoenix had already landed in front of Du Xiaofu when its heavenly voice sounded. Du Xiaofu was a little surprised, but then a smile appeared on his resolute face. He took out a few jade bowls that were originally used to hold elixirs. He filled a bowl with soup and handed it to the purple flame demonic phoenix. Then he wrapped a large piece of roasted meat with a fragrant leaf and handed it to the purple flame demonic phoenix. The purple flame demonic phoenix's expression was calm. Its purple eyes looked at the treasure soup and roasted meat. Its red lips parted slightly, and after taking a small bite, its purple eyes lit up and rippled. Du Xiaofu could not wait any longer. He drank the treasure soup and ate the roasted meat. Runes filled his mouth and energy rippled. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was not just eating the treasure soup and roasted meat. They all contained a shocking amount of energy. A few mouthfuls of this treasure soup and roasted meat would be enough for an ordinary martial king to break through. A martial emperor would benefit greatly if he drank a bowl of this treasure soup. Little Falcon, come here. I'll give you some soup and meat. Du Xiaofu did not forget about Little Falcon. He called out to the Little Falcon, who was hovering nearby. Coo coo! The Little Falcon had already smelled the tempting aroma, so it naturally knew that the treasure soup and barbecue meat were not ordinary. They contained a huge amount of energy, so it could obtain huge benefits. Not to mention, it was currently seriously injured. However, looking at the Wild Bear King and Fantasy Tiger King who were currently restrained, Little Falcon was a little hesitant. If it drank the soup and ate the meat in front of the Fantasy Tiger King and Wild Bear King, if it had the chance in the future, it would offend them completely. It would definitely not end well in the future. I'm afraid they can't escape their fate. Little Falcon thought to himself as he consoled himself. In the end, he was unable to resist the temptation of the fragrance and turned into a young man in silver robes. He looked to be around 28 or 29 years old and immediately landed beside Du Xiaofu. Wow! When he drank the first mouthful of the treasured soup, a rich energy fluctuation gently spread in his stomach, creating ripples. The first mouthful of barbecued meat was overflowing with fragrance. It was neither burnt nor soft, and melted as soon as he chewed. The taste buds on the tip of his tongue immediately opened up, as if a gentle spring breeze had brushed past his mouth. The fragrance lingered in his mouth, causing Little Falcon to cry out in surprise. Little Falcon, you must remember, don't have any ideas behind my back in the future. It's very dangerous. Du Xiaofu suddenly patted Little Falcon's shoulder with a smile in his eyes. He handed over a large piece of barbecued meat to Little Falcon and said with a caring smile, "Come eat more. You'll have more to eat in the future. That bear and big cat are quite big, so they should be enough for us to eat for a while." Little Falcon's heart trembled when he heard Du Xiaofu's words and saw the caring look in his eyes. Even his Yuan spirit felt numb from fear. He felt that the purple-robed young man before him seemed to have seen through his intention to take advantage of the situation. Little Falcon could not help but feel his hair stand on end when he looked at the barbecued meat in his hand and then at the pitiful Wild Bear King and Fantasy Tiger King. How was this letting him eat more? It was clearly a warning. If he angered the bloodthirsty Demon King, he would end up like the Wild Bear King and Fantasy Tiger King. When the time came, the barbecued meat would be his. Thinking of this, Little Falcon could not help but secretly rejoice. When he first heard the bloodthirsty Demon King say that his feathers were not easy to pluck and eat, he thought it was a joke. Only now did he realize that the bloodthirsty Demon King was not joking. He rejoiced that his feathers had saved his life. The Wild Bear King and Fantasy Tiger King, who were lying on the ground, watched as the three of them drank their soup and ate their barbecued meat. Their hearts were filled with a myriad of emotions. They were shocked, terrified, and furious, but there was nothing they could do. They had already become meat on the chopping block. They were fish on the chopping block. The taste is really good. Just the fragrance alone is irresistible. The soup made by the peak transcendent Xianming flood dragon, the origin level demonic fire fantasy tiger, and the berserk earth-shattering bear is comparable to heavenly treasures. It's a great tonic and it's so fragrant. If only I could have a bite. The surrounding monsters, who could not bear to leave, watched from afar as the three of them drank the soup and ate the meat. Their hair stood on end, and their eyes were filled with envy. But looking at the soup and barbecued meat, none of the monsters dared to go up and snatch it. The Wild Bear King and Fantasy Tiger King's fates were still there. That was the best deterrent. Not bad. It's a great tonic. It's a pity that Du Xiaoyao, Little Ching, Little Tiger, and the tomboy aren't here. The soup and barbecued meat turned into energy that rushed into his limbs and bones. It was indescribably comfortable. But then Du Xiaofu could not help but think of Du Xiaoyao, Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, and the tomboy. He wondered how they were doing now, especially the tomboy Ouyang Shuang. She had been gone for several years, and no one knew where she was. This made Du Xiaofu even more worried. Du Xiaofu himself had not noticed before that he was actually so worried about that tomboy. Demon King Du Xiaofu. Oh my God, that's the Demon King Du Xiaofu. Suddenly, a shocked beast roar came from the monster horde in the distance, and it reverberated in all directions. A beast emperor Nirvana realm ferocious bird had just arrived nearby and rushed into the monster horde to watch the show. It immediately saw the purple-robed young man who was drinking the soup and eating the meat. He had a domineering aura, and the way he ate also revealed a kind of ferocity. Its ferocious eyes were filled with doubt and surprise. Then its expression changed drastically, and it could not help but exclaim loudly. The ferocious bird recognized who the purple-robed young man was. Back on the Tianhuang continent, it had seen the purple-robed young man from afar. He was the Dragon 9 who had killed dragons on the Tianhuang continent. That figure was branded in its mind, and it had never forgotten it. It was not difficult for it to recognize him now. What? That bloodthirsty Demon King is the Demon King Du Xiaofu? As the ferocious bird exclaimed, the monster horde's expression changed drastically. The Demon King Du Xiaofu, although he had never been to the Beast region, his domineering deeds of killing the Dragon 9, and slaying the cyan-headed flood dragon had long since spread throughout the Beast region. Now that they learned that the purple-robed, bloodthirsty Demon King was the legendary Demon King Du Xiaofu, who had killed the dragons, Dragon 9, the Demon King, they were all stunned and terrified. Only then did the monster horde truly understand that the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, had even dared to kill the dragons, Dragon 9. No wonder he dared to trample on the Mad Bear King and Fantasy Tiger King. Compared to Dragon 9, the Mad Bear King and Fantasy Tiger King's identities naturally didn't amount to much. Although the Fantasy Tiger King and Mad Bear King were restrained, they weren't deaf. When they heard the astonished cries all around them, they learned that the purple-robed youth before them was actually the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, who had slain the dragons, Dragon 9. Their pupils constricted and complex emotions filled their eyes. Not long ago, they'd been discussing how great it would be if they could take the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, as their battle servant. Who could have imagined that they'd end up like this in front of the Demon King, Du Xiaofu? Demon King Du Xiaofu. Little Falcon's astonished gaze also landed on Du Xiaofu's body in astonishment as it trembled. Only now did Little Falcon realize that the savage fellow before him was actually the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, whose name had long since spread throughout the Beast region. No wonder he was so savage. Du Xiaofu paid no heed to the commotion around him. As if he hadn't heard a thing, he wolfed down the roasted meat and drank the soup. Do you want more? When he saw that the purple flame fiendish phoenix had finished eating, Du Xiaofu raised his eyes and asked, "I'll do it myself." The purple flame fiendish phoenix raised her brows slightly. She'd originally wanted to refuse, but the deliciousness of the food made her say something she didn't mean. She avoided Du Xiaofu's gaze and scooped up the soup herself. However, the way she ate was still bewitching. Compared to Du Xiaofu and Little Falcon, her table manners were countless times better. The three of them ate heartily until not a single drop of the soup was left. Even the roasted meat was gone. Only then did Du Xiaofu pat his round belly. He couldn't help but burp and say, "The taste wasn't bad. I'm going to rest for a bit." As soon as he finished speaking, Du Xiaofu sat down cross-legged. "Aren't we going to look for Little Star?" The purple flame fiendish phoenix frowned as she asked Du Xiaofu. "I've thought about it. In any case, we're already here. There's no rush. If we can't find her, she might end up running into us." Du Xiaofu replied to the purple flame fiendish phoenix. Then he sat down cross-legged and began to meditate. A ring of golden light enveloped his body. A domineering and intimidating aura filled the air, causing the surrounding beasts to tremble in fear.